Jamie's got a new car. He only passed his test last week. Chloe and the kids on the school run and their new hybrid, and the Flemings from 23 off to see their daughter at uni. Get car and van insurance that's right up your street at parkerscompare.com. Created by the experts at Parkers, we're 100% independent and dedicated to helping you find the right insurance policy. Quick and easy, you could compare quotes in just 5 minutes from some of the UK's leading providers. For car insurance comparisons you can trust, visit parkerscompare.com. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. See website for details.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Audi. Book a test drive for the fully electric range today. Head online for details. Who will be joyful and triumphant with the first trophy of the season?
Celtic come out of their huddle. The Celtic bench explodes with joy. The Celtic fans to my left, they romp.
I'm dreaming a green and white Christmas.
Rapturous applause from the Rangers fans. He can go all the way to Govan if he scores this.
Have a blue, 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 blue Christmas.
Christmas will come early for one side of Glasgow.
Rangers 2, Celtic 0. Rangers 0, Celtic 2. They have come out of the traps flying.
Celtic versus Rangers.
To put the icing on the cake for Celtic.
Superb play by Rangers on the breakaway.
Ho, ho, ho. The Premier Sports Cup Final. Live from Hampden, this is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on League Cup final day. Celtic are the Premiership champions, current league leaders, and have dominated this fixture in recent seasons. Philippe Clement is yet to win a derby but did land this trophy last season and will be buoyed by recent improvements. Who will come out on top as this famous old rivalry makes its way back to Hampden? I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me live at the National Stadium you have Gordon Dalziel and Mark Wilson.
Well, what a day we have in store for us here. The wind and the rain is swirling around Hampden, the crowd is packing in, the players are on the pitch warming up, and we've got some spectacle in store. This might be tighter than some would have thought maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago with Rangers' recent upturn in form. It's going to be a cracker we're in for this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Gordon. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago Rangers fans come to Hampden wouldn't have had a lot of hope, but the last couple of days have really turned things round, fully confident. Celtic, you know what they're all about. They love coming to a stadium, they love winning silverware. Mark's right about the conditions, not the greatest, but I think we're in for a classic.
The biggest rivalry in Scottish football, meeting on one of the biggest days in the Scottish football calendar. We are all across it here at the National Stadium and also back at Clyde One Super Scoreboard HQ as well. Let's get the thoughts of Hugh Keevins.
Well, Gordon, 4 weeks ago this cup final was a walkover for Celtic according to Celtic and Rangers supporters, but today it's a 50-50, and that's because Rangers have something that they didn't have 4 weeks ago, and it's a 4-letter word. Not that one. The 4-letter word is hope. They didn't have that in the early weeks of the season when they lost 3-0 to Celtic, but they have it today. What they have to overcome is Brendan Rodgers' mastery of this particular fixture. He's played in 19 of them, 2 spells as Celtic manager. He's had 15 wins, 3 draws and only 1 defeat. And today he could go double digits in terms of trophies won as Celtic manager. The whole occasion could not be any more fascinating.
And as if we would leave Hugh Keevins on his own, who knows what trouble he would get up to. Ross McCormack is going to watch the game with Hugh. Ross, how much are you looking forward to this one?
Yes, Gordon, I can't wait for this, to be honest. I can only echo what Hugh was saying there in terms of Rangers' recent upturn in form. I think it bodes well for the game. I just hope it doesn't disappoint. Rangers have put a team out today that suggests that they're going to try and go toe-to-toe with Celtic. So I guess we'll see how that plays out, but looking forward to it.
The scene is set back in the studio. The scene is set here at Hampden as well, and let's get that all important team news. Every time these sides meet, we spend all week debating who should play and who shouldn't, and who's in form and who's not. Gabriel has the answers.
Yes, Gordon, huge calls by both managers here at Hampden. Let's start with the holders Rangers. Only 2 changes. One of them is enforced. John Souttar is out for Leon Balogun. Philippe Clement has confirmed pre-match the centre-half will miss several weeks. Yanis Hadji also comes in for Ridvan Yilmaz. So it's a massive decision to start James Tavernier, the club captain, at right back, which means Dujon Sterling is on the bench, and there's no place for Conor Barron or Danilo either, who both have to settle for a place amongst the substitutes. So the Rangers 11, Jack Butland in goal, the defensive James Tavernier, Leon Balogun, Robin Propper and Jefty, Nico Raskin and Mohamed Diamande will be in midfield. Václav Černý, Nedim Barami and Yanis Hadji will play behind the man of the moment, Habsa Igaman. Substitutes Kelly, Barron, Dessers, Dowell, Sterling, Ridvan, King, McCausland and Danilo. Celtic, of course, the favourites, but not the holders. Brendan Rodgers names the exact 11 that delivered a Champions League point in Zagreb on Tuesday. No changes at all, meaning Alistair Johnson is passed as fit to start, and Paolo Bernardo is preferred to club record signing Arne Engels in the centre of midfield. So it'll be Kasper Schmeichel in goal, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Austin Trusty and Greg Taylor as the back four, Callum McGregor, Paolo Bernardo and Reo Hatate in midfield, Nicholas Kuhn, Daisen Maeda on the wings, Kyogo through the middle. Their substitutes: Sinisalo, Scales, Palmer, Ida, Baye, Yang, Engels, Ralston and Forrest. The referee here will be John Beaton. Alan Muir is on the VAR. The players are just finishing warming up, Gordon, and kickoff is not far away now.
Thank you to Gabriel. When you get the team news, that's always when it becomes real. You can start a real informed opinion mark on how the game is going to pan out. Let's start with Celtic. Clearly the headline is that Alistair Johnson makes it. He's judged fit enough to start. How big a boost is that?
Well, he was going to be huge, and he has been huge in these fixtures in previous games, especially here at Hampden. He's a firm favourite of the Celtic fans, and it's a settled back four that Celtic have. You know, they've not changed anything, as is the rest of the team, and I don't think across the board there's any surprises in there at all. I think if you ask the majority of the fans here travelling to Hampden and those listening in, that would have probably been the starting 11 they would have picked. So Brendan Rodgers will be happy that his side's settled, everyone knows their jobs, but you're right in highlighting Johnson. He's going to be huge because Rangers, of course, have that threat on their left hand side.
And I suppose, Gordon, the one thing that jumps out generally from the Rangers team is that clearly Philippe Clement wants to use the positivity from Thursday. There was a debate about freshness and legs and who would be fit and who wouldn't, but that's pretty much as close as you could get. The only person who's been chosen to drop out is Ridvan Yilmaz. We knew that John Souttar would be out anyway.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think we always have this debate when it comes to Rangers v Celtic. Will Tavernier play? Because Maeda's had the better of him in every single game. He needs a big afternoon, Gordon. As a Rangers captain, he's got to go out there. He needs a big afternoon, no doubt about that. The rest of the team speaks for itself. I like the fact that Hadji comes back into the team. I think he brings a bit of creative to the middle of the park. But the interesting one for me is Callum McGregor is the main man for Celtic. He'll drop off and go on the ball. Who's going to play in that position? Will he play Hadji in the number 10 to try and stop that? Barami in the number 10 with Hadji left? It's going to be interesting tactically.
Yeah, I mean, Hugh Keevins, I don't know if there was loads to really debate about the Celtic team. It was more about whether Alistair Johnson would make it. We all know that Luke McCowan is cup-tied, and therefore there's the only one real remaining debate was probably, would it be Arne Engels, would it be Paolo Bernardo? Yes, you could make a case for perhaps Alex Valle or the likes, but that almost picks itself. Is that fair?
Yeah, but I would go back to your point about Arne Engels. Here we have the first showpiece of the season, and here we have Arne Engels, who cost £11 million, obliterated Celtic's previous record transfer fee, and he's not there, as he was not against Dinamo Zagreb in the Champions League on Tuesday night. So it's unusual for me. However, Bernardo is a real find for Celtic, and the fans love him. So for me, Greg Taylor has to start the match over Alex Valle because he's got real experience of this fixture, and for me, he contributes more, and that's why he would be in my team. But Brendan Rodgers has got what he believes to be the best 11 available to him, And as they say in football, you can only control the controllables. It's what Rangers have to contend with post Tottenham Hotspur, because that has affected their team selection.
Yeah, Ross McCormack, what's the main thing that jumps out off that team sheet for you?
It's kind of how attacking Rangers seem as if they're going to set up. I thought they would have went a little bit stronger in the middle of the pitch, brought Barron back in for his energy, and maybe played Diamande as a number 10, but it shows the confidence that's brewing there, and he's gone with that attacking lineup. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Listen, I think it's going to be a tough game for Rangers. Celtic have proven this season that they're a class apart in Scotland, but it's a one-off game, and they've got to believe that they can go and do it.
Hugh Keevins, I'm delighted to report you will be buzzing to find out it is dark, it is wet, it is gloomy. It's just how you like your football played, isn't it?
The more sinister the better for me. And what an occasion. Both clubs 118 trophies in their history. Somebody goes one ahead today. For me, I'm not entirely sure what trophies won in the 19th century do for anyone. However, if that's what floats your boat, be prepared to float.
Gordon Dale and Mark Wilson, on a serious note, the one thing that we've got the benefit of being here and being able to see the conditions, I know Hampden is quite well protected, Mark, but the wind is swirling right round this famous old stadium. The rain is blowing in every which direction, and I sometimes think if you're watching it on TV or you're listening to the guys in the studio, it might be easy to forget that can impact the football match.
Oh, without doubt, it impacts how you play, and I think the players are going to find this difficult today to get any sort of rhythm in their game. Just looking at the floodlights here, and you can see the rain just changing direction. I mean, Celtic maybe used to it. It was kind of like Pittodrie a couple of weeks ago. Maybe the wind isn't as fierce as that, but you saw the effect that had on the game and the quality. So it might not be aesthetically pleasing at times today, but Celtic, obviously the team in form, hard to beat. This might just be a little leveller as well. I know Rangers' forms had an upturn, but this might affect Celtic in a negative way. Interesting to see how it starts.
The only thing I will say, Ross will appreciate this back in the studio, it's a striker's pitch, Gordon. It's slick, there's something about it. I'm watching the shooting exercise, the ball coming off the keeper, falling it in, getting the goal. We've seen it last year with Ida. So I just think, as much as the conditions aren't the greatest, and Mark's right, I just think the pitch looks magnificent. I just think the way the two teams have come into this fixture, fully confident, I think we're in for a great game.
How does Celtic arrive at this mark? Because the facts tell you that they are the champions of the Scottish Premiership, they are top of the league, and they have by far the best recent record in this fixture. Rangers have won only one of the last 13 meetings. How much does that stuff matter today, and how much does it, as the saying goes, go out the window?
Well, it obviously gives you confidence, because every time you win a bit of silverware, you do feel invincible, you feel unbeatable, and that's great to carry into a game, but you can't get complacent at all with it. But it's just the relentless nature of this Celtic side, and a lot of the players who have been there over the course and distance that impresses me the most. And they've got a manager who is thirsty for more silverware. He is a manager that wants to win the treble year after year. When he's Celtic manager, he's got the first step today, but it's the hardest step. Getting past Rangers when they played like they did on Thursday night isn't going to be easy, and he'll be drumming that into his players in the dressing room.
And the thing is, Mark, he's up against a manager, and Hugh says it, and rightly so, you have got to beat Celtic at some time. And I'll tell you what, he must be coming in here full of confidence. I know that you can look back at it all started against Kilmarnock, Ross County. Thursday night they were excellent, really were excellent. So he must come in here brimming with confidence, but he knows he's got a tough task, because if that Celtic team turn up and play the way they can play, I don't know if Rangers can do it.
It's such a strange dynamic, Mark, because you wouldn't grudge anyone who thinks that Celtic are favourites because of all the reasons that we have outlined, but ultimately I wonder if we do give too much emphasis sometimes on what's gone before. Listen, I get Aberdeen fans are about to disagree with what I'm about to say, but generally speaking, this is the best team in the country against the second best team in the country. Team number one won't win this fixture forever. They just won't. Yeah. At some point, team number two will have their day. Is it today?
Well, I think it's as good a chance as Philippe Clement's going to get. Now, if this was 4 weeks ago, and we keep going on about that, then we'd obviously say Celtic, but the changes Clement's made to his team and the way they play, but the individuals within it as well. So the introduction of Hadji, he's got more game time, he looks a real player again. But Igman at the top end of the pitch is a defender's nightmare. So the way he plays with a swagger and that carefree attitude is a dangerous opponent for Celtic. That's why he's in the team. That's why Hadji's in the team. I kind of agree with Scott, with Ross in the studio a bit. I thought he might have went a wee bit defensive, but goes to show you he's got every confidence. So I think it's Clement's best chance to get something today, and that's why this game will be tight.
But if the Rangers fans, Gordon, in an attacking sense, if they're pinning their hopes on the brief glimpses of brilliance that they've seen from Hamza Igeman and the hope that he's going to get better and the hope that he can deliver on the other side, the Celtic fans know that the man who wears number 8 can absolutely do it in this fixture.
Yeah, he just comes alive in these games, and that's why he's a certain starter for Celtic, Gordon. The one thing about him this afternoon, I think it's a big blow that Suter's missing. I think Suter is massive for Rangers in the back four. I really do. But Balogun gives them a bit of pace. It's a big game for Proper. But they have got to concentrate, because they know one slip of concentration, Kyogo is the man that will put the ball in the back of the net. Tactically, I think it's got to be a really good game. I touched on it earlier. Who will play to try and stop the ammunition getting into McGregor? Will it be Hadji or Barami?
I don't just mean confidence-wise, momentum, all that sort of stuff. I mean, actually tactically, Thursday night for Rangers, can it play a part? Can it be helpful? Philippe Clement reckons that Celtic and Spurs are similar. I'm not saying they're the exact same, but they're similar in the way that they would go about the game, and therefore he feels that there might be some things Rangers did within the game that can translate. You know, it's not like often what we see Rangers do something in Europe, then they come back to go to, take your pick, Rugby Park, and they struggle because it's entirely different. Is there a case to say that the Thursday night blueprint might be in use today?
Thursday night Rangers got the press bang on. Brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant. Everyone just fitted in. They knew what they were doing. Now you take yourself back to Celtic Park when Rangers started the fixture and they pressed Celtic very hard, high up, and they were controlling the first 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden Celtic played through that press very quickly, and it was a goal that was given offside, and then Rangers decided tactically to back off and gave Celtic the rest of the game. Now it'll be interesting to see. Now that was a long time ago. They've come on from that. They've come on for Thursday night. They'll take a lot of confidence in that press. They've got to get it right, because if they don't get it right, you look at the middle of the park for Celtic, the ability in there and the front three will absolutely destroy you.
I don't think Rangers have got the players to play any other way today. I don't think they can play this a low block and sit and let Celtic come up to the top end of the pitch, because you look who they've got in there. They've got Hadji, Igeman, they've got Cherny, Barami, all forward thinking players. Their best hope, you're right, is to use the blueprint from Thursday and how they went about their business, and they were aggressive with their press, and they'd done it in ones and they done it in twos and threes. They didn't just leave somebody to go and press themselves. So you had that first contact, you had Raskin knitting in at the side, you know, winning balls in the midfield area, which was so important. I think it'll be exactly the same today. Interesting to see how Celtic will deal with that, because they don't usually come up with that sort of threat. So it's going to be, you know, great for us sitting up here, because we'll see it tactically unfold, and a great spectacle ahead for the viewers at home as well.
But you've played in the fixture, Mark, a number of times. Celtic Park, Ibrox, Hampden. It's just different here, isn't it? I know we're stating the obvious about the 50-50 crowd split, but I always feel like the football match just plays out a bit differently. The stats show you the games at Hampden tend to be a bit closer, it feels like.
Yeah, they certainly are, and when Celtic and Rangers come head to head, so I don't expect anything different. I mean, I suppose the Celtic supporters coming here at the semi-final might have thought that might have been the case against Aberdeen, but scoring goals at the right time and doing the right things in big moments obviously change games, and that's what happened in that game. Now it could happen today, it could, but I think both teams will suss each other out. We've got very good coaches, a very good manager, very good players who have came up against each other time and time again, and I think it'll be a cagey event to start off with.
Well, the scene is set. Both teams have completed their warm-ups. They've gone down to those famous old dressing rooms down the Hampden Tunnel to add the finishing touches, the pre-match superstitions, the final words of wisdom from Brendan Rodgers and Philippe Clement. And when we return, the League Cup final between Celtic and Rangers will get underway.
Get in! Finally found the perfect sofa. A massaging, reclining, pink chaise longue. What a win. Only thing is, I haven't shopped on this site before.
Maybe use PayPal. It could help you feel secure, knowing your card and bank information is safely stored.
Oh, good call. Looks like I'm sitting pretty. Wait.
Really? You're better than that. Don't just pay. PayPal.
Looking to get car or van insurance double quick? To mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. Car or van, work or play. Compare insurance with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Celtic versus Rangers, the Premier Sports Cup final. Live from Hampden, this is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
We are just minutes away from kick-off at the National Stadium as Celtic and Rangers go head-to-head once again for the bragging rights, as always, but this time for the League Cup, the season's first piece of silverware. Rangers won it last season, Celtic want it back. Gabriel has the starting 11s for us.
Yes, Celtic, an unchanged 11 from Tuesday night. Schmeichel in goal, Johnson, Carter Vickers, Trusty and Taylor the back four. McGregor, Bernardo and Hattati in midfield. Kun, Kyogo and Maida up top. Rangers make 2 changes from the tour against Tottenham. Butland in goal, Tavernier, Balogun, Proper and Jeffrey at the back. Raskin and Diamande are the 2 in midfield, with Cherney, Bajrami and Haji behind Igaman.
Eyes on the prize, says the banner in the Rangers end to our left. If Celtic fans have one, it is not up yet, but Philippe Clement won this piece of silverware last season. Gordon Dalziel, it did not provide the spark, it did not lay the groundwork for further success to follow. How important for Rangers to get this one over the line today?
Oh, it's massive for Rangers, absolutely massive for them. It could kick-start the season, Gordon. The Rangers fans were against the manager, against the team not that long ago. Clement's worked very hard at that. He's brought them back again after some good results, some very good performances. He came in for a lot of criticism that he wasn't entertaining the fans. The fans were leaving in their droves. Well, they're here in their droves today. They're looking for a performance and they're looking for silverware.
But for Celtic, Mark Wilson, it's all right being the dominant side domestically. Once you've got the taste, you want to keep that going. It's not like it becomes less important for Brendan Rodgers and Celtic just because they win most of the trophies.
Certainly not. There's a hunger with this Celtic manager that he wants to be a success, and every single piece of silverware his team enters, and he's got the players behind him to back it up as well. Players who are relentless in their hunt for success, and that's the pressure that falls on their shoulders. They drive each other on, and they've done it year after year. Can they go one further step today and add the first piece of silverware to what would be probably our favourites for another treble?
And Gordon Dalziel, what do you see as the key battles being here? Because the fascination with this fixture, to people on the outside, they don't get it. These sides meet so often, they're so familiar with each other. Everyone else thinks that diminishes the importance, but far from it. So these teams know each other inside out. What's going to be key today?
Well, everybody talks about the Midway Park, and of course that's important in fixtures like this. I think all eyes will be on the wide areas, Gordon. You know, you've got the threat of Maeda, who usually comes alive here against Tavernier. You've got Kuhn, who is in magnificent form on the right hand side as well. So the wide areas are going to be so important in this fixture. I just think the most important thing is if Rangers can get the first goal, the belief that we'll give them will be unbelievable. So it'll be an interesting battle.
I think that is huge. The first goal in this. Rangers have failed to lead in this fixture a lot over Brendan Rodgers' time in charge and Ange Postecoglou's. It'll be interesting. If they get the first goal, how will Celtic react? How will this Rangers crowd to our left react and push their side on? And if they nick another, then we're in for a real game. That's going to be crucial this afternoon.
Will we kick off on time? Who knows, because the pyro smoke fills the Hampden skies just as it did at the semi-final stage. The SPFL said don't do that again, and both sets of fans have said we'll do what we want, quite frankly. So a sea of colour all around the stadium, and this is listen, if there is one positive to be taken, I can't see Gordon Dalziel and he's standing right next to me, so there we are. I was going to say every cloud, but that really would be a play on the conditions here, because the visibility has become very, very poor all of a sudden. I suppose what we shouldn't overlook, Gordon, when you look at the substitute benches, we get so hung up on who starts the game. We were here in May, Paulo Bernardo comes on, he hits a shot, Adam Ida scores the rebound. You look at the Rangers bench, Danilo has been revitalised, Dessels is still scoring goals. This could go the distance, this game, and these squads will have to play their part.
We know that Celtic have got such a strong squad. You look at, they've got an £11 million player sitting on the bench. But I think the difference for Rangers this afternoon, Gordon, is they have got a bit of hope from the bench. Danilo is, I think he's a bit unlucky not to start. Dessers nearly won the game for them the other night, only for a brilliant save from Fraser Foster. He can get you goals. So the good thing about the Rangers manager this afternoon is, especially after Thursday night, he's got options, and he's got good options he can bring off the bench. Obviously you look across at Celtic's bench and they're just full of quality. So tactically for the managers as well, making the right substitutions at the right time becomes vital.
We will just stay with this for now, because I'm not convinced this is going to kick off on time. John Beaton, the referee, just going over and finishing off the pre-match ritual. The branded advertising boards from the cup sponsor getting removed as we speak. There are fantastic aerial drone shots from outside Hampden which show the smoke billowing out like somebody's Sunday dinner getting ready to be made, Gordon Dalziel. So it might be a while before this one gets underway, and that noise you hear is because Celtic have gone into their huddle, which means half the stadium loves it and half the stadium loathes it. How special are these moments, Mark?
Oh, they are sensational. When you're in a cup final here against your greatest rivals, you go into that huddle and you hear the roar from behind you, you know you're involved in something special. But again, isn't it ideal that there's going to be a delay? We see the kit man there from Celtic kicking on the balls for when they break the huddle to knock the ball a bit, because this is going to be delayed. Actually, I thought the smoke had cleared, the wind was doing it a favour. Brought it back in.
Yeah. Do you know something? It's a great spectacle, but it really is a pain for the players. Look, they've done their warm-up, they've had their last-minute instructions for the managers, they've come out there. All they want to do is go on with this cup final, get the game going. But unfortunately, we have to wait again. The balls are on there, they're knocking the balls about. It's just a bit of a pain for me.
And I have to say, I don't want this to descend into a weather report or stray into territory that we're too unfamiliar with. But the way the wind is just circling round in here makes me think it's not going anywhere. It makes me think the smoke is just going to surround us. And I know one man who won't be enjoying this.
He called it yesterday.
What are you thinking, Hugh?
I'm thinking that Celtic and Rangers are being held hostage by a lawless, younger element of their support. You said it correctly earlier, Gordon. They listened to Brendan Rodgers saying, please don't do it. It means that players run the risk of injury. We listened to Philippe Clement say, we don't want it because the club will be fined and that could affect my transfer budget. And two sets of supporters said, couldn't care less, mate. We'll do what we like. And it is outrageous that cup finals are held up because it adds nothing to the game. It's not a great spectacle. It's just smoke inhalation. And there will be trouble coming along. Scottish football will have to address this matter, and it will mean trouble. And the first people to complain will be the lawless supporters who created the trouble in the first place.
Well, the good news for us, we are on until 7 o'clock, so we are going nowhere. We will squeeze this game in, no problem at all. And in the end up, not that it makes it okay, only a 3-minute delay by the looks of things, because we are about to get underway. It's the League Cup final, Celtic against Rangers at Hampden, and Kickoff is coming up right now.
Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Planning your holiday? Get essential health advice and medication before you travel.
Yes, Hugh Keevins and Ross McCormack with me, Andrew Maclean, in the studio, and we will bring you all the action across the first half at Hampden. We are finally underway after a bit of a delay, and hopefully all the focus for the next 90 minutes, maybe more than that, will be on the football, Ross.
Yeah, hopefully. First thing I can see in this game is Hagi's been the one tasked to play on the left. It's very important that he follows Johnston back the way, because Johnston and Kuhn together have been phenomenal this season. So, yeah, Rangers have had a good start here and they want to keep it going.
Yeah, they've started positively, as they have to do. You have to understand the implications of defeat for Philippe Clement. It will be, if he loses to Celtic, his 6th defeat. And I will repeat my phrase: the Rangers manager who cannot beat Celtic cannot remain as the Rangers manager. So that's the incentive for him.
Yeah, well, a bright start for Rangers. They've got a corner just 1 minute into this match. They've managed to work their way down the right a couple of times through Nadim Bayrami. This time tried to get across into the box, was blocked, and it will be a corner to be taken by the left foot of Yanis Hadji.
Well, I mean, we touched upon the fact that the first goal in this game could be exceptionally important. And Rangers have the first set piece.
Well, they haven't done well from corners so far this season. Rangers, Yanis Hadji with the delivery, I think still haven't scored a corner or from a corner this season. Rangers, something that Philippe Clement has talked about, said they wanted to try and fix, and they won't be doing it with corners like that.
Yeah, listen, there's no doubt they'll be working on it in the training field, but I think Shooter's a big miss for them today. The amount of first contacts he gets on them balls when they come into the box, both attacking and defensively, he's going to be a big miss.
Yeah, Robin Proper in the starting lineup, playing alongside Leon Balogun. Leon Balogun, who's really come into things again over the past few weeks.
Yeah, but didn't expect to play 2 games in such close proximity. He had to come on against Tottenham midweek because of the injury to John Souttar, and with very little recovery time, he's back into the game again.
Celtic just looking to find their feet now. 2.5 minutes into the game, not been able to get out their own half so far. Still very early on. Rangers trying to take the game to Celtic in these opening stages, but I think Brendan Rodgers will be quite happy just to see his defenders at the moment just get a foot on the ball, pass it around, just get a feel for the game in these early moments.
Yeah, they're just settling into it and getting into their rhythm, to be honest. It's been a decent start for Rangers. Celtic haven't shown much at all, but as you say, we're only 3 minutes in.
You could see that it was a high ball that Cameron Carter-Vickers played there, that it wasn't going where he wanted it to go, but I think a lot of that was to do with the wind. You could see it really hold up as Nicholas Kuhn tries to dance his way into the Rangers box, but he's crowded out. A combination of Jefté and Raskin stopping him in his tracks. But Celtic once again back on the ball, trying to get the ball into the box, unable to. The second occasion.
Yeah, John Beaton let play go on there. It looked like a foul on Nicholas Kuhn, but John Beaton rightly let play go on. Rangers rushed to the other end of the park.
Yeah, trying to get the ball up the park quickly, but Václav Černý has been robbed by Daisen Maeda, who doesn't have to come up against James Tavernier at this point, because Rangers are a bit disjointed with the way they went forward and tried to attack. It's Diamandi and Černý, the two of them, just making sure Daisen Maeda can't do a whole lot, but he's actually done alright to get the ball away from the corner. Celtic, just a frantic start to the game, as you'd expect it would be.
It's been that way for 130 years, so not going to change now. It's a question, Ross, of the manager, Philippe Clement, has to try something. He's not been able to come up with a plan that worked in 5 previous Celtic matches, so he's changed things around a bit today.
Yeah, and I think that's essentially probably why he's picked the team that he's picked today, because when they sit back, that doesn't work. So you've got Hadji in the team, Bayrami in the team, Černý in the team, so it looks as if they're going to go toe to toe with Celtic. Me personally, that's very dangerous, because if Celtic turn up then and they've got a little bit of space, then it's going to be a difficult afternoon for Rangers. But listen, fair play. The manager knows he's had criticism for.
Here's a chance.
Well, maybe a chance for Rangers. Yanis Hadji into the box, tight angle, his shot is deflected. He was maybe even trying to play it across the face of goal, but Celtic managed to get the ball away. Just all came from a long ball over the top from James Tavernier that caused a bit of havoc between the two Celtic central defenders.
Well, think back to Rangers' goal against Tottenham midweek. It came from a ball that Tavernier put in. That's why he's essential to the team right now. I know he's had his critics. After the last Celtic game, he was treated very shabbily by some Rangers supporters outside Ibrox, but he has been, for me, the main inspiration of this transformation that's overcome Rangers, and he simply sees the passes that others don't.
Yeah, well, the ball is now out for a Celtic throw-in, but Rangers trying their best to just get the ball forward as quickly as they can when they're on it. And
they already look a different proposition, you know, to recent games against Celtic. There's, as I said at the start, there's a hope there that wasn't there before. There's a belief there that wasn't there before. It doesn't matter that they're theoretically 12 points behind Celtic because of their superior goal difference in the Premiership. For this one-off game, Ross, there's hope.
Of course there is, Hugh. There's got to be. Whether they're going into it in a good run of form or not, you've still got to believe. This is your biggest rivals in a cup final. You've got to believe that you can go and win it.
Hatate's been careless for me. Gave the ball away on more than one occasion. But you never know the minute with Rio Hatate. You think back to Pataudry. Celtic didn't look as if they had a goal in them that night in the awful conditions, and then the combination of Greg Taylor and Rio Hatate fashioned the winner.
Yeah, didn't have one of his best nights, did he, over in Croatia on Tuesday, but he's shown what he can do in this fixture as well, in his time at Celtic.
Yeah. I mean, he made a sensational start. In his first fixture, he scored 2 goals. Became an overnight sensation. But it's an interesting opening to the game. Never a dull moment with these two.
Hugh, just to go back to what you said there about Tavernier.
Yeah.
You know, the stick that he gets, yes, he was out of form at the start of the season, but he was always going to come back into form. You don't be as good as he's been for the last 10 years and then, become a bad player overnight. Also on Greg Taylor, for the stick that he gets, I find it incredible. You talk about the assist at Aberdeen, that's as good an assist as you'll see all season.
Absolutely.
All season long. And it's by design that he goes into the midfield. He ain't going in there just to have a jolly up and play 2-yard passes.
Oh, Dyson Maeda's managed to spin away from Leon Balogun, but a brilliant recovery tackle as Maeda tried to break his way into the box. Rangers get a free kick in the end, but looks as if that could have been a real bit of danger at first.
You can never go to sleep when Dyson Maeda is there. We speak about Kyogo in this fixture. Kyogo has scored 8 times against Rangers since coming here from Japan, and that's exceptional stuff. But Maeda is a constant thorn in Rangers' side.
He did well initially there, Maeda, because he sort of intentionally left the ball, and Leon Balogun was expecting there to be contact. It then ran through the legs of Balogun. Maeda has that speed just to whip round him, to dart into the box. But Leon Balogun might be 36 years old, but he's always been a quick defender, Balogun.
Yeah, and again, invaluable experience. I think this is his 100th game for Rangers today. Real stalwarts on the park, like him and Tavernier, Carter Vickers for Celtic. But apart from that Hadji attempt, which Schmeichel took care of, Jack Butland at the other end has had nothing to do.
Nothing at all, no. Listen, it was always going to be this way. First 20 minutes, people just feeling themselves into the game. It'll open up. Still believe in it.
Yeah, Kyogo sliding across as Jack Butland went to clear the ball, and it's hard to tell from this angle, but looked as if he was pretty close to getting that block in.
You've seen it a few times this year with Butland, haven't you? He just dallies a little bit too long, and you can't do that when you've got Kyogo and Maeda, because they are absolutely lightning. They will get there.
That must be a terrifying sight as a goalkeeper with the ball at your feet and having either Kyogo or Dyson Maeda running down at you. Kasper Schmeichel had a bit of work to do with his feet at the other end, but that is something that he's shown this season that people can talk about in terms of goalkeeping, but in terms of distribution, he's been a real upgrade on Joe Hart, just what he's able to do with the ball at his feet.
You can talk about the signings that Celtic made, about Paulo Bernardo or Arne Engels or Adam Ida, but the signing of Schmeichel has been inspired because he has brought such confidence to Celtic. And excellent user of the ball when it's at his feet. So great piece of business. Igamani is making all sorts of gestures here as if he's hurt himself badly.
Yeah, looks to be in a bit of pain. Like he's taken a sore one in the stomach. I don't know whether he's been winded by Cameron Carter-Vickers, who gave away the free kick just on the halfway line, but doesn't appear to be a whole lot in it. He sort of puts his arm across the stomach of Igaman, who does look to still be in a bit of discomfort.
Yeah, maybe a little blow to the ribs there, but I find it amazing how many players this day and age go down and they're waving their arms as if they've got a real bad injury. 30 seconds later they're back up and on with the game.
As he is.
Yes, there's nothing in that at all, just a little nudge.
Yeah, well, he is up and ready to go. It genuinely looked as if he was calling the medical staff on. It was going to be, a delay, a stoppage because he was injured, but no, carry on, play on.
We'll call it theatrical, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Leon Balogun was talking about Hamza Gaman the other day, and I don't know whether sometimes these quotes get a bit lost because people can take certain bits of it. He was likening him to Didier Drogba, but he's specifically talking about the way he controls the ball with his chest, that he feels that's who he reminds him of, just the way he does that.
Always wary of comparing him to, as he commits a foul, always wary of comparing him to people like Drogba.
I think it was more that he was meaning, though, that specifically the way he controls the ball with his chest reminds him of how Didier Drogba does it, rather than saying he is the next Didier Drogba.
In my profession, that ends up as a headline saying Igamani is just like Drogba.
Yeah. Tell you what, for the last few weeks I've been watching him closely. I don't think he's controlled it once in his chest, so it must be in the training field that. But fair play to the lad. I didn't realise he was only 22. I thought he was a little bit older. He looks like a man. He's a proper unit. And Rangers have needed someone to come in and challenge Dessers, because at times Dessers just hasn't been at it. I feel sorry for him personally, Dessers, if you ask me, but they've needed competition in that area for a while, and it looks as if they've got it.
If you're Brendan Rodgers, Ross, and you're 13 minutes in and Jack Butland hasn't been troubled at all, are you wondering why?
Not even that, Hugh, to be honest, that he hasn't been troubled. They just haven't really, you see them keeping the balls and patterns of play and what have you in most games. It's not really been anything at all,
Yeah.
Maeda there was in a dangerous area. Balogun done well to get back to him. Apart from that, it's been nothing, but I think the manager would have expected this. Rangers are coming into the game with a lot of confidence. Celtic will know exactly what they're doing here.
There's a word that Brendan uses when things are like this. It's passive. He doesn't want passive on Cup final day. I really think he would like to see some form of action in front of Jack Butland.
Just to keep you updated, the scheduling is a bit all over the place today, because there is one Premiership match that was a 3 o'clock kickoff, so that's just about to be half time between Kilmarnock and Hearts. What a start to the game it was as well. 6 minutes in, the referee sent to the VAR screen. Robbie Dees was sent off. Derek McInnes has talked so much about the ill discipline of his players. I think they have the most red cards in the Premiership last season. This season they've already surpassed that. I think they're 7th in all competitions this season, but then went on to get a penalty. Bruce Anderson scored it, so they are a man down but a goal up.
Well, that's not good for Neil Critchley and Hearts. They're minus Lawrence Shankland today because of suspension. And when you take Shankland out, I know he's only scored 3 goals all season long.
Here's the speed of Nicholas Kuhn making his way into the Rangers box, and Jack Butland makes a vital interception and then a save as well to stop Celtic from scoring. It looked for a real second as if Nicholas Kuhn was ready to pull the trigger and score.
Easy for me to say, Ross, but I think he could have done better there.
He could have done better, certainly, Hugh, but that for me shows you why Balogun was probably rested midweek. Ideally, I think Clement would have liked to have went with Balogun and Suter together, but he's been forced into playing proper, and we've just seen there he's been shown a clean. He's actually got 4 or 5 yard start on him.
Yeah.
Still doesn't get anywhere near him.
Yeah, then knocks the ball round Proper, who had absolutely no chance of catching Nicholas Kuhn. But you just expected in his form of this season, Nicholas Kuhn, for the net to be bulging.
Why does Kuhn go round the goalkeeper, or attempt to go round the goalkeeper, when he could have taken it first pop?
Yeah, Hugh, I think the last touch before he tries to take it round the goalkeeper was maybe a tad heavy, and it's made up his mind. I think the finish there would have been to take a smaller touch before and look to lift it over Butland, but he's a better player than me, he knows what he's doing.
Celtic's first opening comes just before the 15-minute mark. Nicholas Kuhn unable to make anything of it, but a chance here. Kyogo, this time the ball over his shoulder, had the sort of half volley, but it was never troubling Jack Butland.
It's Proper again though, isn't it? Celtic have realised exactly where the weak link in.
Yeah, Kyogo running in behind. Robin Proper on his heels was never going to be able to catch Kyogo, but that strike was at the near post. Jack Butland managed to gather at the second attempt, but Celtic just growing into this one now, finding their feet.
Yeah, the passive period has passed. and they're now looking dangerous. Kyogo will always shoot on sight against Rangers. That's how you get to have 8 goals in 11, now 12 matches against Rangers.
You see, if that goes in, that's shades of Van Basten there for me, on the angle, on the volley. No one in the box, so why not take the shot on?
Dalziel Maeda trying to cut inside of James Tavernier, who gets enough on the ball to be able to help nick it away. That's a battle that going into every game between these sides, people are highlighting James Tavernier. Going into this game, Ross, did you feel there was any doubt that James I'll stick with this because Jeffty's danced away from a couple of challenges. The cross doesn't make it into the box. He'll have another chance to deliver.
Alistair Johnson slipped at a vital moment there. I think Celtic could have worked harder to get rid of that, but Rangers still in possession. It's still alive. Good ball in.
Yeah, Diamandi's ball into the box, headed away by Celtic this time. So it wasn't just a swing of the pendulum one way and it's going to be all Celtic. It's going to go back and forth.
Yeah, good final. If it was a bore, I would say it's a bore, but it's not. It's a good final.
That going to be a corner to Rangers.
Yeah.
Nadim Bayrami was in a challenge there and has gone out, so Rangers will have another opportunity. Second corner of the game, but the delivery will need to be better than the one from Yanis Hadji. It was just that tackle from Greg Taylor.
I think it's a suspect decision. Did that not come off the Rangers play?
Yeah, it's probably hard for the officials to see it, isn't it? But there'll be a little bit of a steward's inquiry if Rangers score from this, for sure.
I think we'll have a busy week on the phones. If so, to be fair, I haven't at that one clear angle. It was quite hard to tell exactly what was happening. Hadji's delivery once again doesn't beat the first man. We'll have the chance to try and get it back in. Cuts it back to James Tavernier, who'll go towards the back post, and the header by Leon Balogun had a bit of power behind it, but Kasper Schmeichel manages to gather.
Well, again, Tavernier sees the pass. Balogun delivers the header. The goalkeeper, Schmeichel, delivers security. But Rangers are enjoying a good spell here. They're a very, very even game. Unlike any game played under Clement, this is by far the most... Well, even when he get the 3-3 draw at Ibrox, the one he called the moral victory, Celtic kind of... they've lost a point or 2 points to a fantastic goal latterly, but Celtic were the better team that day and didn't get all 3 points.
Yeah, but an interesting game. This one, so far, we had the stoppage for a few minutes because of the flares. I'm sure the SPFL will have something to say about that. They were very strong in their words with Rangers, Celtic, Motherwell at the semi-finals.
As I say, and Gordon Dale backed me up at the start. It's now just become dreary, and there will be further fines, and the game will have to find a solution to the problem.
Rangers had been accused earlier on this season of being quite direct under Philippe Clement, but they've tried that ball over the top a few times, just trying to pick out Igamani, see if he can cause any problems with the defence. I mean, one of them came to something when Celtic didn't manage to clear the ball properly and Hadji worked his way in, but they are trying to mix it up and find different ways to get in behind, as Dalziel Maeda is in a foot race with Leon Balogun, who ends up winning it, but he did have a huge head start.
Yeah. He's happy just to be rid of the ball before Maeda can do any damage.
This start for Rangers will be simply just topping up the confidence that they've built up over the last few weeks. What you don't want to happen is to get too confident. Jeffty going forward at the wrong time, leaving them spaces in behind because they could be exploited. But I think Philippe Clement will be the happier manager here.
I tell you, he's been really quiet. Paulo Bernardo, I'd forgotten he's on the park.
Yeah, I don't think we've mentioned him. He's preferred, of course, to Arnie Engels. I think you're almost obliged to say the £11 million Arnie Engels. When someone is brought into Scottish football for that type of fee, it always will be labelled not selected for this game. But any time Brendan Rodgers is asked about him, he always talks about his age and the fact that he's still young, he's still developing.
I do think, though, that when he came, hit the ground running, looked terrific, and he looked like that you get what you pay for. I just think first showpiece of the season, and your £11 million record transfer fee was never going to be there.
Hugh, but just remember they also paid $5 million for the guy who's coming in. Yeah. That's not a little sum of money either. That's a huge fee for a Scottish club.
But anyway, Paulo Bernardo quiet, Hatate quiet. So they're big players in these games, and they're quiet so far.
The ball has bypassed the midfield quite a bit though, hasn't it? Balls are going long, or it's going down the channels. The midfielders haven't had much of a chance to make an impact in the game so far.
A bit of head tennis going on now.
Yeah, James Tavernier going down under the challenge of Daisen Maeda. I think he will win a free kick in his own half.
Yeah, careless challenge from Maeda. You need to be careful of picking up cheap bookings.
He is quite petty, isn't he?
Yeah.
Remember the game at Tynecastle the other week when he must have fouled Cammy Devlin about 4 times in 5 minutes? It's just petty at times.
Yeah, it's half time between Kilmarnock and Hearts in that game at Rugby Park. Still 1-0 to Kilmarnock, but Kilmarnock have had another red card. Robbie Dees sent off after 6 minutes. They still managed to take the lead from the penalty spot through Bruce Anderson. We'll see what the second 45 minutes has in store. If it's anything like yesterday's Premiership action, then they'll be in for a good half.
Well, you know, if Hearts were to go down the 10 men, you're not buying that foul there.
Very soft. I thought he got his toe on the ball. The ball deviates direction. We'll see it better here.
Yeah, it's Paulo Bernardo.
No, you're right,
yeah. Bernardo just kicks through Yanis Hadji. Will be a free kick to Rangers, not too far outside their own box, but John Beaton making the right call on that occasion.
That's the danger right there, though. If they dally on it for any longer than they should do, them Celtic front three are on you.
To go back to Kilmarnock for a nanosecond, if they beat Hearts with 10 men, it's a poor result for Neil Critchley and the club with a lot to think about. Bottom of the table.
Daisen Maeda can try and square up the Rangers fullback Leon Balogun. That's going to be a foul given away in a dangerous area to Leon Balogun. Just pulls Rio Hatate back. I think the Celtic players are adamant that should be a booking to go along with it. I'm not sure he's going to get one.
McGregor, as captain, is allowed to speak to John Beaton. Is that a booking for you, Ross?
If it's not a yellow, I don't know what it is, to be honest.
Well, Celtic have tried to take the free kick quickly, but as often happens when the referee's still sorting out the admin, he actually has now booked Leon Balogun. So he was in the process of doing that. Celtic tried to take the free kick quickly, but of course can't do that when the referee's still got his cards in his hand and he's working that out. But Rio Hatate just spinning away from Leon Balogun there. He knew that the midfielder was away from him, just dragging him back.
If you are Leon Balogun, it's a long afternoon now. You know, a player in his position, and it's happened to him before, I think, in an Old Firm game. I think he was red carded before. So it just makes it difficult.
Paulo Bernardo standing over this one. He took one on Tuesday night, didn't he, away at Dinamo Zagreb from, I think it was maybe the other side.
Yeah.
This one is left of centre,
25 yards out.
Yeah, favours the right footer, which Paulo Bernardo is. That one went over the bar on Tuesday night. Steps up to take this one, fires it straight into the wall.
Yep, well, Celtic still in possession, trying to keep the move going.
Don't really have an obvious free kick taker to Celtic. I mean, Paulo Bernardo took the one the other night, took the one today. You'd expect it will be him, but there's not an obvious choice, is there?
Given the number of long-range goals that Callum McGregor scored this season, would he not be a candidate?
I suppose it's all about different technique, isn't it, Ross? From open play and from dead balls. Actually, the game's going to continue, and Callum McGregor is going to try and get into the Rangers box. He's eventually shepherded out of play by Nadeem Barami, who says he didn't get a touch on the ball, but it is going out for a corner. There was a big collision before that.
There was Alistair Johnson. I think he collided.
Yeah, Diamande went in for the challenge, was late, sort of put his leg up and collided with Alistair Johnson, caught him quite high. It would have been a free kick, but John Beaton played the advantage, which has led to this Celtic corner, a chance for them to try and make something happen. Does come in from Bernardo, but once again, like both of Rangers' corners, it doesn't beat the first man.
Corner kick taking has become a lost art, Ross.
And most of the big teams these days have got set piece coaches, so what are they watching?
How much of it is to do with players trying to get it too perfect? Is it about trying to get the right pace on it, the right whip, the right delivery, that you're trying so hard that if one wee bit goes wrong, then the whole thing just doesn't come together?
Yeah, listen, the main thing is you can make all the runs you want. You can stand in a bus stop line, whatever you want to call it, but if the delivery's not there, then it's irrelevant, and it's not been today. It needs to be better from both sides.
The best one to attack a corner kick is on the bench, Liam Scales. He's got that old-fashioned touch off good corner kicks, but anyway, 3 corner kicks, all rotten.
Yeah, Austin Trusty hasn't found a sort of goal-scoring touch for Celtic yet, but he's a tall player. He's the type of player you'd expect could cause a bit of nuisance at corner kicks, as the ball just rolls all the way through to Kasper Schmeichel. Celtic can try and start an attack of their own. Dalziel getting the ball, and straight away James Tavernier, then Nicholas Raskin, not giving him a second. Raskin, I think, did give away the foul,
which has stopped play. John Beaton trying to explain it is a foul, it is a free kick.
Yeah, I think Celtic were maybe just looking to take the advantage, but they were in their own half, passing it around. Nothing had happened there, but just clear tactic. It was a bit different, I suppose, to Timo Werner when James Tavernier came up against him the other night, and he stood off him quite a bit, didn't he? And he gave him room, but seems to be doing the opposite with Dyson Maeda. He's right on him any time he gets the ball. Yeah,
and I tell you what Maeda won't do. He won't give it away 17 times in the first half like Werner did. So he needs to get tight to him because he can hurt him, and he knows he can hurt him.
Still can't believe the Ange Postecoglou analysis of Timo Werner. Not often you hear a manager dig out a player publicly quite like that.
I don't think he was hard enough. He called it unacceptable, and it should be unacceptable. I have no idea how much money he earns per week, Werner, but his performance was lacking in professionalism for me. Weak of mind, weak of character.
Hugh, you talk about transfer fee with Engels and stuff. This is a guy who went to Chelsea for £50 million.
Yeah.
And he looks like he can't put his feet in front of each other.
Yeah. You wonder how that type of thing goes down in the changing room. So I suppose there will be some players that will have also been disappointed in his performance, but you'll also have players that, you know, are his pal and maybe take a bit of exception to it.
Well, there was a time when manager could say, I don't care what the changing room thinks, but they have to be careful now in the prima donna age. But Ange Postecoglou tonight at Southampton, if he doesn't get all 3 points there, I would fear for him. Wolves get rid of Gary O'Neill today. It's coming up. You know, you've been in England for a long time, Ross. Christmas time, sacking time.
I think maybe just after the Christmas period, to be honest. But do you know what? Everyone down south seems to love him. All the pundits, everything.
Yeah.
So no one really says a bad word about him. So I think he's got a little bit more rope to play with, to be honest.
Yeah, just taking a look at the other English Premier League scorelines from today. Not a good day for the Seagulls.
No.
Hugh, 3-1 defeat to Crystal Palace. There's a Manchester derby at 4:30. Then 2 7 o'clock kickoffs, which is not very common on a Sunday. I think Chelsea's is maybe to do with the fact that they were travelling back from Kazakhstan, was where they played on Thursday. A long old journey.
Well, on that subject, Andrew, here we've got a Rangers team who are bursting forward now, who finished playing.
Yeah, Hadji not getting the right touch at the edge of the box, was trying to set himself for a shot.
Rangers finished playing 10 o'clock Thursday night.
Well, here's Igaman, who goes for the strike from 25-30 yards. Probably wasn't the right choice with such a crowded area in front of him of bodies.
It's the confidence, isn't it? It's flowing through him.
Here's James Tavernier in prime delivery area. Does whip this one into the box, but there's no takers. Goes all the way out for a Celtic throw on the far side.
Yeah, Celtic making a bit of a 3-course meal of getting rid of the ball out of a dangerous area. But anyway, we're half an hour in now. It's been a good watch, but nothing doing in terms of chance taking or chance creation.
Yeah, Ross, you said earlier on you were surprised at the lineup, the approach that Philippe Clement was going for. Did you feel that it would be a bit more conservative, and the fact that Rangers have found success playing this way in recent weeks, did Philippe Clement almost is he almost forced to try and play a more attacking lineup? Because if he then tries to revert to what really wasn't working earlier on in the season, I can imagine the reaction from supporters wouldn't have been a good one.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, I think he's done the right thing going attacking. He said, if we're going to get beat, we're going to get beat having a go. So, and they've shown the first 30 minutes they're more than a match here for Celtic. It's just Hugh hit the nail on the head there. It's not even chances taken, it's the chances creating. There's been not much at this point so far, but I'm sure that will change.
Well, you know, the received wisdom before the game was that, you've got Maida against Tavernier second game in 3 days, etc, etc, etc. But Tavernier has taken care of him so far.
Yeah, they don't look like a team that's too exhausted from their midweek exploits, but you do wonder if that's something that maybe plays a part more later on in the game than it does at the start.
Now, Nicholas Kuhn loses the ball again. Kuhn, for me, in recent times, he was sensational at the start of the season. He made all of us eat our words about the guy who had a quiet introduction to life at Celtic. But for me, one of the reasons why Celtic have not looked as good as they were in the earlier part of the season is that Kuhn's gone quiet.
Yeah, he's gone quiet, but similar to what I was saying about Engels, Kuhn's not that old either, so they're going to have little dips in form. It's important you take them out at the right time and put them back in, look after them, manage them. Going back to what we were saying there a minute ago about players playing 2 games in 3 days, I don't buy it. Personally, I do not buy it. You can't tell me these athletes who are super, super fit, they've got the best recovery, best physiotherapists, ice bath, cryo chambers, they can't play 2 games in 3 days. I'm not having it.
Celtic now trying to work their way through Rangers half, but once again the ball given away. Just happened quite a few times, but Rangers now on the break. They've got a few numbers there, but Barami might just fancy going himself. He does, and that wasn't the right option at all.
Ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
2 options to his right. He had Czerny and one other. At that point, does he just need to lift his head to play it out?
You've got to. That's a promising situation that Rangers are getting into, and someone's taking a ridiculous shot from 30 yards.
Celtic's passing's poor. They're gifting Rangers possession of the ball, and it's the continuation of the kind of form that in the Hibs game they ought to have been a couple of goals down, but for Kasper Schmeichel. In Croatia against a weakened Dinamo Zagreb, it was the same story. The dynamism isn't there. The stardust factor. They're going through the motions, but the passing's poor.
You could actually see a long ball was played up there by Rangers. There was a header away by a Celtic defender, but it went straight back to the feet of a Rangers player. You could see Brendan Rodgers down on the touchline just kind of throw his arms up in frustration and turn away. It's not, there's a dangerous pass, and Rangers had an opening because Austin Trusty, not quite sure what he was thinking with that square pass across his own box to Cameron Carter-Vickers. Yanis Hadji was pressing, but Carter-Vickers just managed to do enough to nick it away.
Great ball to Kuhn.
And now the ball's in the other box. Kuhn can try and cross this in, but it's blocked by Jefty.
That really is a poor attempt on his part.
Yeah, I think it is. We've just seen it at both ends there. Just a lack of quality, a lack of conviction from both teams when they get into that final third.
So Celtic get a foul on Trusty. Balogun down injured.
I hope he's not hurt his knee here, just the way the Celtic player fell on him.
Looked quite an awkward one, didn't it? There was the foul collision between Hadji and that Austin Trusty, and he just falls into Leon Balogun, who's running through. We're sort of watching the replay now of Austin Trusty's pass. I think his heart must have stopped when he looked up and saw Yanis Hadji closing down Cameron Carter-Vickers, but he did well in the end.
Tell
Celtic defender.
Tell me something there, Hugh. What is the value in that pass from Trusty to...
I know.
It's not going to get you anywhere. Why? There's no need to play that pass.
Well, I always think that people of my age are immediately called dinosaurs. Oh, that's the way they play football now. Well, it's a stupid way to play football.
This will be a real concern for Philippe Clement, for Rangers supporters, and for Leon Balogun, because we talked about that collision between Austin Trusty. He just fell awkwardly into Leon Balogun. He's down, he's getting treatment. I think is it his knee was he holding there? Certainly his right leg. But
it shows every indication of getting up and getting on with it, Leon Balogun. So I don't think he'll come off.
We'll need to wait and see for now, but it would be, he is limping very heavily, Leon Balogun, on his way off. He looks like a man that's going to try and continue, but really doesn't look comfortable. It's far from ideal for Rangers when they're already without John Souttar, who's injured for this one. You have a look at that Rangers bench, there really isn't any central defensive options. It would probably need to be Dujon Sterling that would go in there.
Maybe Leon King, young centre half, played a few games.
Oh yeah, he's on the bench as well. I didn't spot him. Leon King, who hasn't made a Rangers appearance for quite a while. Had that spell at the start of that Champions League campaign, wasn't it, under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, where he played quite a lot of games.
Now, if I was Rangers, I'd be encouraged by the way that Celtic are playing, that they're very ineffective, passing not good at all, going nowhere.
Yeah, Rangers in possession now, just a nice chipped ball by Raskin over to Diamandi, who isn't given a second's piece by Greg Taylor, and once again the ball just misplaced pass out of play. Certainly it's not been a spectacle in terms of the quality.
From Celtic's perspective, it's sloppy. We had a caller on last night who asked what would happen if the Celtic team played as they did in the semi-final against Aberdeen and won 6-0, and I said they'll certainly win the match in a canter, but this is the polar opposite of the team who played against Aberdeen and scored 6 goals. They're sloppy and unimaginative, and the big players like Kuhn, he's had one or two prospects of doing something dangerous, and he's not been the Nicholas Kuhn that the fans know.
I was going to say, sometimes it's hard to tell from watching on the TV, but I don't think it is hard. That pitch looks like it is cutting up something awful, and it looks like it's getting worse minute by minute. Doesn't look the best surface, does it?
Well, nothing we can do about that. They're just stuck with it. They just have to rise above it. I go back to that night at Pittodrie. I've never seen conditions as bad, and Celtic found a way.
Well, here is Tavernier against Maeda, and it's James Tavernier that comes out on top that time. So much said about the rivalry, the two of them facing off, but James Tavernier did well just to get his body in front of Daisen Maeda, tried to shepherd the ball out of play, but ended up having to be cleared.
I think this part of the season, the last few weeks, have been an affront to James Tavernier's dignity, and he said, right, I will show everyone. And as I say, he made a terrific goal against Spurs. He's handled Maeda perfectly today, and he's simply on a mission to show that the Rangers supporters, and let's start with the Rangers supporters, they were the ones who didn't want him anymore. He's on a mission to show everyone that he's still the number one man at Ibrox, and deservedly the owner of the captain's armband.
Is he always going to play today for you, Ross?
For me, he should be playing every game, to be honest with you. The numbers that he's got is just incredible over the last 10 years. Now, like I was saying there about the young boys and stuff, even the older boys like Tavernier, they're going to have a dip at some point, but you always knew he would come back. You look at his goal last week at Dingwall, the ball spinning the opposite way from where he hit it. He's caught it like an absolute dream, and that's what he offers you. As I said earlier, if he didn't start against Spurs, Rangers would have got beat, because there's no one in that squad that can see the pass, never mind play it the way he did. So I think it's one of them. I think the Rangers fans probably won't realise how good he was until he's gone.
The Celtic fans, on the other hand, I think will be looking at this and thinking they haven't turned up. There has to be a spark, a sign of life, because they haven't really turned up as yet.
Can they then almost spin that as a positive and say, if they've not played that well and haven't turned up yet, but haven't really conceded too many chances so far against Rangers, there are options on the bench as well at Celtic.
But you're obliged you're obliged to look at yourselves first, and I'm not saying never mind the opposition, but you're obliged to look at yourselves first, and they have not played well. It's slow motion, it's unimaginative, it's ponderous, and they have to up their game if they want to win this cup. Look at that
and there's
for
the
a
ball
pass.
given away, and a real chance for Rangers. Barami to Igaman, edge of the box, fakes the shoot, shoots the second time, it's saved, and Rangers take the lead.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
40 minutes on the clock, Celtic 0, Rangers 1. Nadeem Barami is the goal scorer, and it all came from an error at the back from Celtic.
There you are. They have justified my every word. Sloppy, unimaginative, careless, and it was Greg Taylor's mistake, and they've deservedly lost a goal there through their own carelessness. What a dreadful pass.
Yeah, we were talking about those types of passes. I know the one we mentioned, Austin Trusty, was in his own box, but Greg Taylor just goes square across the centre circle towards Cameron Carter-Vickers, gets it all wrong, and Rangers break up and score.
You talk about learning your lesson. A couple of times they've been caught with that pass, but that's a great save as well from Schmeichel. But the only one following in is by Rami. As the Dazzler was saying earlier, it's a striker's pitch. The only one following in is the striker. Well, the tap in.
It's no more than both teams deserve. Rangers have been positive, taking the game to Celtic, and Celtic have been sloppy, passive, call it anything you like. Passing, I drew attention to it on more than one occasion, passing awful, and Greg Taylor has sold the jerseys.
Yeah, Rangers still had a lot to do, because it was, 45 yards from goal maybe that Greg Taylor had made that pass. And it comes to, at that time we talked about previously that Barami hadn't played the pass on the counter-attack they'd had beforehand. This time he does make the pass to Igaman. He actually does well to kind of fakes to shoot, puts Cameron Carter-Vickers to the ground, gets the space for himself, gets the shot, power on it. Kasper Schmeichel unable to handle it, but they managed to get that right this time, where they hadn't in previous opportunities when they were breaking forward.
Sorry, Ross.
No, I was just going to say you're absolutely spot on there with your analysis. I think, as I said, they've been caught a couple of times with that pass. You've got to learn your lesson, haven't you? But as Hugh said there, if anyone deserves to score, it's Rangers. And I'll tell you something right now, anyone who's at home watching this who thinks Celtic are just all of a sudden going to wake up and turn it on, it doesn't work like that. You've seen it midweek with Tottenham. Everyone, probably myself included, was sitting watching it and going, right, Tottenham are going to wake up at some point, they're going to come to the party. They didn't, because it's very, very hard to switch that on and off, as we're seeing here with Celtic.
I think the story of Celtic's season has been careful manipulation of the squad, and that this League Cup started with a game against Falkirk at Celtic Park, where Celtic were 2-1 down, and the game was going on and on and on, and Celtic were in danger of going out, and Brendan Rodgers made 4 substitutions and pulled the game out of the fire, and he's going to have to do that today, because what's on the park at the moment won't win him the cup.
Looking back to last weekend when Celtic got to half-time against Hibs, Brendan Rodgers made a change at half-time. He brought Nicholas Kuhn off and put James Forrest on, and he actually went into detail after the game about why he did it, talking about retaining possession, James Forrest being really good at that out on the touchline. I'm not saying that is the change that he would make right now, but you do wonder whether he would maybe look to change something at half-time.
Well, Kuhn right now is injured and doesn't look comfortable at all.
Yeah, he's down holding his knee, Nicholas Kuhn.
So there's a possibility. There are all manner of possibilities. Jefty is
booking for Jefty for that challenge on Nicholas Kuhn that's led to him needing treatment.
Hugh, you talk about Balogun having a long afternoon now.
Yeah.
Because if he's got the better of Kuhn, Forrest will come on and run at him as well. It's going to be a long second half.
Well, I think Brendan Rodgers will have to go to the bench again. Adamida, Arma Engels. There'll have to be changes made, because it's not good enough.
Yeah, delivery comes in from a deep free kick, but Rangers managed to deal with it, and Alistair Johnson is going to have to clear the ball under pressure from Václav Černý, which he does. We are 10 seconds away from the 45-minute mark. We will have, I think, a couple of minutes at least of injury time. That Balogun problem and Nicholas Kuhn being down as well.
Well, where would you start? 3 minutes added on. Hatate's played poorly. Bernardo, anonymous. To be fair, not the only one to be anonymous. by far the worst performance that Celtic have given under Brendan Rodgers against a Philippe Clement side, and they've given the ball away again.
Yeah, given away again, and Rangers could have a chance here. Igaman just couldn't get the ball under his control, about 25 yards from the Celtic goal, and they get away with that one.
You know, there's no point in anyone complaining. I would love to hear a Celtic supporter defend this first half performance and tell me it's not Celtic's fault, because it is Celtic's fault. Their possession, when they're in possession of the ball, very poor.
Yeah, you can sometimes get away with maybe one or two players having a bit of a slack afternoon, but across the board doesn't seem to be clicking for Celtic in this opening 45.
No, it doesn't. I tell you what I was thinking of though, as soon as that goal went in, I was thinking about these phone lines after the game, because Greg Taylor, he's not got millions of fans in it with the Celtic faithful, and after giving that away there in the first half leading to the goal, I think he could be coming in for a little bit of criticism, to be honest. But it's up to his teammates to bail him out. You'll be thinking, you know, that front three, Hatate and Bernardo as well, someone's got to grab a hold of it. They've got to. It's the only way. It's not going to come easy for them.
Well, I go back to my point, and I do understand that players don't set transfer fees and all the rest of it, but when you're in a bit of trouble, as Celtic are, you surely look to the £11 million man.
You would have said that at Pittodrie, wouldn't you? When Celtic had that game against Aberdeen, where it was really tight, you only got the last 3 minutes of that game at Pittodrie.
Right now, the players who are on the park won't win Celtic the Cup. It's going to have to be somebody coming off the bench to change the game.
Yeah, no doubt Brendan Rodgers will look to his bench at some point. We'll see whether that is at the break or not. They'll probably have a chance for one last attack. They've got a free kick just inside of Rangers half. John Beaton not happy with whoever the Rangers player was, Barami, that was stopping Celtic from taking that free kick quickly.
John's got a great face for unhappiness. Well, there you go again.
Once again, Celtic have lost the ball. Is there a chance for Rangers? It's Leon Balogun, the central defender, striding forward. The pass was maybe on. He's still going, Balogun, into the box. Gets the cross in, and Alistair Johnson hooks it away.
Celtic are shabby in the
and there's Robin Propper, who is now basically the furthest man forward for Rangers. Both their central defenders are up as they continue this attack. It's clipped over in towards Václav Černý. Celtic, I was wondering what way the ball was going there. It goes out for a throw in on this side. Černy's shot was blocked at the near post.
Rangers smell blood. They know that Celtic are so below par, it's not true, and they're lucky.
Well, it's half time. Let's get the story with Gordon and the guys at Hampden.
Yes, half time at the National Stadium is Celtic 0, Rangers 1. Nadim Barami's goal, the difference at the break, separating the sides in this League Cup final. Neither side really hitting top gear, in fact far from it, but it's clearly the Rangers fans that will be the happier of the two at the break. Just 5 minutes before the interval, it was a mistake, a bad one from Greg Taylor. He gave the ball away. Rangers went striding forward, a shot parried by Kasper Schmeichel, and Barami was there to roll the ball into the empty net. Up until that point, there had probably been one chance created in the full game. Nicholas Kuhn was the one he raced clear. Jack Butland smothered it, and Reo Hatate couldn't quite convert on the rebound. Rangers hadn't what's the word I'm looking for? Created anything until that point. Sorry, we didn't help you there. Malfunctioning. Hadn't created anything until that point. Really, a Leon Balogun header that Kasper Schmeichel saved, and then the big moment, the mistake from Taylor, the parry from Schmeichel, the goal from Barami. It's all about the result. Gordon Dalziel, the performance from neither team has been particularly vintage. Rangers have the advantage.
Yeah, it's all about the goals. I've got to say, conditions haven't helped, right? So I'm going to give them a little bit of scope here, a little bit of an excuse. But Celtic, for me, have played right into Rangers' hands. It's tippy-tappy football. The only time that Celtic get any joy is that ball over the top into the right-hand corner for Kuhn, and you've seen had an excellent chance. Kyogo had an excellent chance. But apart from that, it's been tippy-tappy, and then they forced a mistake. I said it before a kick-off. It's a striker's pitch. follow everything up, and that's what Barami done. Schmeichel had a good save, but he could only parry it out, and you could see it from here. Barami's on it thinking anything's come off the goalkeeper, I'm going to capitalise. He's put Rangers in front. Celtic have got a bit of work to do in this cup final.
And that's what these games can come down to, Mark. You can look hopefully for moments of brilliance or a mistake. It was very tight, there's nothing in it, there's a mistake from Greg Taylor and Rangers pounce on it.
Yeah, and I thought they did well to pounce on it, because the way they were pressing Celtic 4 or 5 minutes before it, they almost did it a couple of times, but they were just waiting in a loose pass, and they're quick to promote bodies forward, and that's how Barami's the first one to follow up and knock it into the back of the net. But it's been a game lacking quality. So many individual errors, so many players off it, and I always thought as the game wore on it was going to be something like that, or a clear-cut chance was going to come from a mistake. And when you're Greg Taylor and you come in and you try and play that square pass, as soon as you see that intercepted, you're hoping some of your teammates can get back there and dig you out. But Taylor, and I think it was Carter Vickers, go searching for the same ball, forgetting Barami's in behind, and that's why he's got a tap in. So I think Brendan Rodgers will be furious with his side at how they've passed the ball, so many misplaced passes. Daz is right, I think they're lacking energy at times, they're not moving it quick enough. But if your Rangers and Philip come on, you're delighted. Not only you've got the lead, but you've contained a Celtic side who can run riot when they're on their game. So a lot of work for Brendan Rodgers' side to do. Interesting now to see how Philippe Clement's side takes this second half on.
Yeah, because Gordon, Philippe Clement's team haven't had loads to cheer in this fixture, so getting in front, we always say it's a great time to score. The place was threatening to become a bit flat. I think everyone thought this was heading for a 0-0 half-time scoreline. So the boost that will give the Rangers players in that dressing room.
Oh, the team talk will be incredible in there. Mark was saying you just wonder what tactics he'll adopt. He's got to keep the same tactics. Celtic haven't really caused them any problems apart from a couple of balls over the top. Now he'll probably address that. They need to get their distances right. But most of the game that Celtic got possession wise played in front of Rangers, tippy-tappy football. We were right in line with Greg Taylor, and you could see the trap that was set, and you're thinking if he plays that, Celtic are in trouble here. And he played the ball, and all of a sudden they get punished from it. So I think Clement will be saying, look, right, make sure we keep working, keep stopping them playing balls over the top, let them play their tippy-tappy football in front of us. You know, I tell you, I think the two full-backs have done okay for Rangers. Tavernier against Maeda, I know he made a mistake early on, but I think he's recovered from that. Maeda's not been in the game, Kyogo's not been in the game. Celtic midfield's not really dominated the way they normally dominate. Kuhn looks a real threat. But to me, Celtic look off it just now. It'll be a big team talk for Brendan Rodgers, but I think Rangers have got to be delighted so far.
And is that where it'll be frustrating for Brendan Rodgers, Mark? Because as poor as Celtic have been, as below their standards as they've been, they also didn't really look like conceding.
Yeah.
Until they shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, well, I said to Daz there, every time Rangers managed to nick the ball or come up the pitch, it looked a bit desperate from a Rangers point of view, that they had to take a quick shot and they were just happy to be up there. And Celtic did look controlled up until they got to the halfway line. Then they struggled to penetrate. Now, Rangers are well organised, so you've got to give them credit in that respect in their defensive third, but you expect so much more from Celtic going forward, and it's worked for Rangers. Forced a mistake, nicked it and got their goal at a crucial time.
Well, it's the Rangers fans that are singing at the break here at Hampden, because at half time in this League Cup final they lead at Celtic 0, Rangers 1.
The Premier Sports Cup final. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Yes, half time it is Celtic 0, Rangers 1, and judging by the warm-ups that are going on, Mark Wilson, in fact, down below as Liam Scales has left the warm-up and is heading back towards the tunnel area. He was doing his own individual warm-up whilst the rest of the subs were in a group. Does that suggest to you Liam Scales might be getting introduced?
Certainly looks like it. He was doing a one-to-one with the coach there, working on a few things, chatting to him over things. He's now making his way down the tunnel. Interesting to see what that will look like, though.
Yes.
Is it just a straight replacement for Trusty, or is that mistake in Brendan Rodgers' head from Greg Taylor? Would it be a change as drastic as that? But you've got Valley on, so you wouldn't change Scales for a left back. So interesting.
The most likely suggestion, Gordon, would be that either Carter Vickers or Trusty has picked something up in that first half.
Yeah, it could be Gordon, but I'm just guessing it would be Trusty for me, even if the two of them were fit, because I've watched Trusty coming forward with the ball, and he's getting caught all the time. He's just too bold, and I don't think Brendan Rodgers is particularly happy. But look, we can single him out. If you look at Celtic overall as a team, they've not really performed. That may be down to Rangers, but at the end of the day, Celtic are not at their best, and he's going to change one or two things. You just wonder, as the game goes on, he's got plenty of options on the bench. He's got Ida, he's got Ingles, he's got Forrest, the people that can come on and give them a spark. Just now, I think Celtic need a spark. They're very flat.
Oh, without doubt. I'm looking at the top end of the pitch for Celtic, where they've got a lot of joy this season. And I was saying to Daz during it, their movement in the midfield area is great, but the amount of actions they've had in the final third have been limited. Okay, you've seen Kuhn come in, and it was a good move. But I'm amazed. I've seen it reported time and time again from Celtic fans, the lack of involvement for Kyogo. How many touches has Kyogo had, do you think?
Very shallow. Do you know what it reminds me, Mark? I remember Brendan Rodgers come back at first, and he was getting a lot of stick about the slow play and the build-up and too many touches, and then all of a sudden, this season he went boom, everybody was moving quick, fast, speedy football. There's been none of that in the first 45. He'll be looking for a big reaction.
I wonder though, because there are two teams out there, is this now maybe that Rangers are in a place structurally and tactically that they can pull this plan off a bit better? Celtic have still had 68% of the ball, they've done next to nothing with it. Why is that? Because now Rangers can sit off it a little bit.
Look,
I'm not saying they're not sitting back, but you sit off it up to a point and know that you can set those traps like they did.
I totally agree. I totally agree, Ron. I think they've taken Thursday night, the way they pressed into this. They know their jobs now. They look organised. We always said, as the Rangers manager got a plan. You can see the plan now developing the pitch. So Rangers have got to take a lot of credit. As I said earlier, when we were sitting watching Greg Taylor, you could see that trap happening, and you're thinking, if he plays that ball here, he's in trouble, and they get punished for him. And that was down to the way Rangers pressed. They'll do the same in the second half, but if Celtic are going to get back in this cup final, they'll need more.
Because like I said, Mark, you don't have to constantly chase after the ball, you don't have to constantly be on the ball. Rangers have only 32% possession, but I don't think many people would say they've been miles second best or anything like that in this game. Far from it.
And they certainly haven't defended just on the 18-yard line. I think they do look organised. I can see Raskin and Diamante working between each other to try and block off those passing lanes into Hatate, into Bernardo, and it's working. And you've got Barami in front of you doing a good job as well. Haji's concentrating on the left side and Alistair Johnson and nullifying him, and you've got Tierney doing a job here and Greg Taylor as well. So it all looks very comfortable and compact and moving side to side, and it's just nullifying Celtic's threat. It's up to Brendan Rodgers' side now to come up with something maybe a wee bit different. There's no point in just coming out and doing the same thing time and time again, or moving the ball as slowly, or you end up with the same result. But Rangers have got it spot on without being brilliant. You're right in possession, I'm not saying that at all, but they've got it spot on in terms of how they've pressed and how they've nicked the ball back at crucial times.
The only time they looked in trouble, Mark, was a couple of balls over the top. You've seen the first one with
Kuhn's was a big chance.
Yeah, massive, and that was a warning sign. And then the one with Kyogo, Ross was talking about Van Basten. It doesn't need a great strike like Van Basten to beat Butland, but it was a threat. Apart from that, Celtic have played everything in front of Rangers, and Rangers have been very well organised.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see what the news of that change is. It certainly looks like it will be Liam Scales. He has headed up the tunnel whilst everyone else is still out there, so you would have to imagine he is coming on. In terms of the sort of neutral, if you like, or the spectacle, maybe the goal is a good thing, sparked some life in, because I think if we're being fair, up until that point there just wasn't really very much happening.
Well, we mentioned the weather beforehand, but I'm not going to cut the player slack like Daz did, because I think it actually looks okay. I just think it's a lack of quality with so many misplaced passes from both sides, but probably Celtic a wee bit more, because you expect better from their more technical players. So yeah, for the neutral, not many chances. I mean, the Kuhn one's obviously the standout one for Celtic, where he gives proper 10 yards or something, and he just whizzes by him. And I'm looking at it, I wondered if he could square it to Kyogo, who was at the back post. I think his last touch has put him in a bit of trouble, and Butland does well. The other side,
should Hatate do better on the rebound?
Yeah, possibly.
I think you've got to give credit to Rangers there. They get bodies in front of him very quickly. I don't know why Kuhn is trying to get around it. I think he dinks that. Or as Matt rightly says, because we watched the replay, square it across the box and Kyogo's got a tap in. But Celtic need a lot more.
In terms of Rangers' approach, just as you were before, no reason
for
to
me,
change.
I think it's the same. there's only one concern. Obviously, you're looking for a reaction from Celtic, right? The only trouble was that Cutley ball's over the top. I think if Rangers can get the distances right, I think they'll be fine. Tavernier, the big question mark, will Tavernier play? Does the manager not learn against Maeda? Maeda's not been involved in this game, so he's got to make sure it's another 45 like that.
You know what's been interesting?
Sorry, Mark, I was going to say, I wonder if there are lessons there, though, in the way that we analyse that, because when we, in previous games, you put so much emphasis on Maeda getting the better of Tavernier, and then today we're saying that's not happening. But clearly that's a structural thing. How many times really has there been scope for Dyson Maeda? So Rangers as a team surely are better, rather than just, this is James Tavernier doing better today than he's done previously. I'm not saying he's not, but you know what I mean, as a team effort.
They have stopped the supply to the wide areas, and any time that Kuhn's got the ball, he's kind of came in, and any time Maeda, his channels and progress has been stunted. I was going to actually speak about Rangers. I was interested to see how that kind of front four works for Rangers. There was a period just midway through the half that were sort of playing without a number 9. The Igaman just went out on the right hand side, and Hadji then decides just to have a free roll. It cost Celtic a wee bit of issues, but they didn't get the ball quickly through. So again, interesting how this is going to pan out from a Rangers point of view. They've got the lead, the important goal. Huge 45 minutes for Celtic.
Here come Rangers: Tavernier, Butland, Proper, Barami, Hadji, Balogun, Diomandi, Jeffrey, Raskin, Cherney and Igaman. So the same 11 that finished the first half will start the second. And here comes Celtic, captain Callum McGregor, Greg Taylor, the man who made the mistake, followed by Alistair Johnson, Paulo Bernardo, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Kyogo, Maeda, Hatate, Kuhn and Schmeichel, which means it is Austin Trusty. Maybe an injury, maybe tactical, but one thing's for sure, Liam Scales is replacing him.
Yeah, and plus the fact you know that Scales is a real threat at set plays as well, Gordon, and I'm not surprised with that. I think it's tactical. I've got to say, I've been very disappointed the way Trustees came with the ball. Scales is better at it.
Well, what a massive 45 minutes we have ahead of us. Either Rangers will retain the League Cup or Celtic will wrestle it back, but they'll have to come from behind. Celtic standing over the ball, and we get the second half underway at Hampden.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. New school year, new bugs. Get advice on infections and viruses at your local pharmacy.
Yes, if you've just joined us, I don't think you missed a first half of quality football between Celtic and Rangers in the Premier Sports Cup final, but you did miss the one goal. Nadim Barami has Rangers in the lead. That one change made at the break. We don't know whether it was an injury or whether it was just a tactical change, but Liam Scales coming on for Austin Trusty.
Well, I suspect it's tactical rather than created by injury. Rangers don't care about quality football, they only care about winning the cup. And fair play to them, they have taken their chance and they're a goal up. Celtic have delivered 48 first half minutes of sustained rubbish, and will have to come up with a way, which, to be fair to them, they have done on several occasions this season, but they now need a way. Scales might be interesting. As I said in the first half, he's the only man at Celtic Park who can attack a corner, and you feel there might be something in it for Celtic. But Celtic, I suspect, the players who are on the park right now won't win the cup for them. They're going to have to go to Engels, Ida, whoever. But the players on the park, I did not believe Celtic could be this poor, Ross.
No, it's surprising, very surprising. But I think back to, in terms of recent times, Celtic played Hearts at Tynecastle a few weeks ago, and the first half that they produced that day was not too dissimilar to that. Half time, the manager didn't make any changes at half time, but he just tweaked a little thing in the midfield, and that got them going. I think the Celtic fans will be hoping for something similar, but I think Rangers have been great.
Yeah.
This is the way the Rangers wanted the game to go. Not even just 1-0, but Celtic very, very ineffective, and that's down to the way Rangers are playing, not how poor Celtic are.
Our view was Rangers win the ball back in Celtic's half, but goes back into Celtic's possession. I was going to say our view was slightly obstructed there after the break because there were more flares going off. I'm glad it didn't lead to a stoppage. I think we might have had a full Hugh Keevins meltdown.
Well, I watched St. Pauli against Werder Bremen last night in the Bundesliga, and at the start of the second half, both sets of players had to be taken off back into the dressing room. Celtic, a burst of pace now.
Yeah, that was a bit more like it from Celtic. Just a few passes there going forwards, making their way up the pitch, but Yanis Hadji getting back, doing the dirty work, and goes into the arms of Jack Butland. But that'll be the type of thing that Brendan Rodgers will want to see more of from his players. They've not really had many fast flowing moves. A lot of the passes have been side to side rather than going forward.
Yeah, and just picking up there on Hadji, I was very quick before the game to question it, thinking that he wouldn't do the work going back the way he has done this afternoon, and he's going to have to keep doing it. And if he doesn't, then there's Conor Barron waiting on the bench. But I think the sign is, in the first 3 minutes of the second half, is that Celtic have woken up a little bit. I think there's going to be a great final here.
Well, Rangers have the ball again, and it's Igaman who, outside of the boot, crosses the ball. I think he was trying to pick out Václav Černý, but it was way off the mark, easily gathered by Kasper Schmeichel.
Celtic have had more misplaced passes in this final than they've had in the whole of the season put together. It's astonishing. There's absolutely nothing doing for them. I do appreciate they started with a flurry there, but Gordon Dalziel referred to it as tippy-tappy football, and the tippy-tappy won't get you anywhere.
Well, here is Celtic again. That's going to be a free kick, and it was Leon Balogun
needs to be
on
careful.
Reo Hatate. Yeah, he does, because he's one of a couple of players that's already on a booking. Leon Balogun, Reo Hatate down in a bit of pain, and he just got to the ball, nicked it away from Leon Balogun.
Yellow card?
I mean, maybe if he wasn't already on a yellow, there would be more of an argument for it, but Hatate doesn't need that in this weather, does he? Just came out, probably still cold. You've got a 6'5" centre half standing on your foot.
Might wake him up.
Reo Hatate was the man fouled. It's going to be a free kick taken by, I think, the right foot of Paulo Bernardo. Whips it in behind. A real dangerous delivery. And is it Liam Scales that got his head on it?
Told you, the only one
and just wide of the mark.
The only one who's any use to you in the penalty area when you throw in a set piece is Liam Scales. What a start that would have been for him.
Tell you what, I'm not sure Butland's getting across to it if it's sneaking inside the post, but Scales is very dangerous. The amount of first contacts he gets on set pieces, both defensively and attacking, is very, very good.
Was that the tactical aspect to it all, do you think? Taking off Trusty and putting on someone who might be a threat at set pieces?
I mean, I'm not so sure about that. I think the amount of times in the first half that Trusty was coming out of the ball and passing it straight back to Rangers was alarming. So I think that might have been the number one reason, unless he's got an injury, of course, which we don't know about.
And Celtic give it.
Yeah, Rangers winning the ball high up the pitch again. Igaman trying to shuffle away from a couple of Celtic defenders who end up clearing it, but just another sign of Celtic being slack in and around their own box, or certainly in their own half.
I repeat, I did not think Celtic could play as badly as this, but they have been very, very poor as Rangers give them the ball now and see what they can do with it.
Yeah, Paulo Bernardo just in the centre circle, picking out Nicholas Kuhn on this right side. He's not had many chances to square up Jeff Tate. Cuts back inside, finds Callum McGregor. Maybe just when that forward pass comes from Paulo Bernardo, we'll stick with this because Václav Černy's won the ball. He's striding into the Celtic half. Rangers have bodies flooding forward. Celtic are exposed. This is a huge opportunity, and somehow Rangers don't get a shot away and all that. It ended up being 4-on-1 at one point, and the pass from Igaman, it was then to Barami, tried to play it across. Cameron Carter-Vickers got the block in, but at one point 4-on-1, Rangers really should have done better there.
This game is all about decision making. The ball for him there was to the left hand side. They've got two of them clean open. I can't believe what he's just done.
Yeah, Philippe Clement can't quite believe it either. The shot of him there screaming into the sky.
Carter-Vickers absolutely heroic there. I'll update my opinion. I said it was 48 first half minutes of sustained rubbish. It's now 52 minutes of appalling rubbish from Celtic.
Could have found themselves 2-0 down there, but someone down in the box as Rangers wait to take this corner. Mohamed Diamande. Kasper Schmeichel's not too happy with him.
John Beaton get his work cut out here. Players are getting edgy, starting to go for each other. If Rangers were to get a second goal, I think the cup's over. I think it's bound for Ibrox.
It's also on the flip side of it. If Rangers then don't go on to win this game, that is an opportunity, a chance that fans, Philippe Clement, the players will look back on and think, how on earth did they not manage to take advantage of that? As Yanis Hadji's corner comes in, it was a better delivery, comes out to Igaman, he was off balance, shoots over the bar.
Yeah, like you said there, they'll be hoping that they don't live to rue that, because that's as good an opportunity as you're going to get against anyone, never mind in a cup final against Celtic.
There have been a few moments where Rangers have managed to be on the break and they've had bodies forward. I was thinking the one earlier on when Leon Balogun was striding forward, it looked as if Igaman had a bit of space and he just didn't thread that ball through. They didn't manage to make the most of it. Just seen that corner again. It was a mixture of Kyogo and Scales that got the first contact to head away.
Well, I still maintain Brendan Rodgers will need to go to the bench, and he's done so with Scales, and we can see why, but in a forward-going sense, there is nothing at all happening.
What I was going to say before that Rangers counter-attack, when the ball had been played by Paulo Bernardo over to the right for Nicholas Kuhn, it all just seemed to slow down, and that is the difference there, because Nicholas Kuhn this time receives the ball, skips away from Jeffrey, gets to the byline, and it's had to be blocked at the near post by Jack Butland. I was just about to say that Celtic fans will have been frustrated when the ball went to Kuhn that he cut in and it was all getting a bit slow, and then this time he strides forward and Celtic have won themselves a corner.
I don't understand, they're taking the short corner. What's the point in Scales being there to provide that threat and you don't use it, and now they're getting further and further away from the goal?
I don't think Scales and Carter Vickers had even gone up for it, had they? They both seemed to be pretty far back when this ball was worked in from the corner. Rangers have pretty much everyone back. The ball was trying to be threaded through to Daisen Maeda. Rangers happy just to get a boot through that and clear it up the park.
See, if you're Celtic, you don't mind that at all, though. He's gave the ball away, but it's on the edge of the Rangers box. But most of this afternoon have been giving it away in such dangerous positions that if Rangers then make the first pass after that, they're nearly clean through.
Oh, Alistair Johnson has a chance to cross here, and Kyogo, that is the type of chance he normally eats up at the front post. Made the run, and I think it was a good block in the end to divert his shot away from goal and out for a corner.
He was beaten to the ball. That's the unusual thing. It's normally Kyogo first past the post, but he was beaten to the ball. Celtic up in their game now. They realise that the cup is slipping away from them unless they do something.
Yeah, just a lot more positivity in the last couple of attacks as the ball is in the net.
Deflection, wasn't it?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's taken a huge deflection and it means Celtic are level. Not the prettiest of goals, and the shot came from Greg Taylor, the man who gave the ball away for Rangers' goal this time. The corner came in from Paulo Bernardo, dropped to Greg Taylor, wasn't the cleanest of contact, and I think it came off maybe a combination of Raskin and Robin Propper and into the back of the net.
It's a huge deflection. Greg Taylor, the whipping boy, was about to be whipped all over the place by the Celtic fans, but he's hit it off Nicholas Raskin. Rangers are chance.
Rangers have ball over the top towards Igaman, but easily dealt with by Liam Scales. But they'll have another opportunity. Igaman just choosing the wrong option there. A wild angle to be hitting a shot from, that is.
That's even worse than the one in the first half, shooting from there. Ludicrous. He's going to get an earful for that. Got to.
Now, if this doesn't put some life into Celtic, then I don't know what does. To call the goal fortuitous is an understatement, but that's a one-off cup final for you. And the way in which Rangers get their goal, they could never have seen it coming either. So it's one boob apiece. And where does the cup final go from here? Celtic ought to have the impetus from this now. Will they continue to pass it to Rangers players, though?
We were just saying in the lead up to the corner that led to the goal, Celtic were looking a bit more positive. You can see it from Nicholas Kuhn there, just dances away from Jeffrey, ball into the box. Celtic now have another opportunity to try and turn this cup final on its head, but everything Celtic are doing now is just with a bit more urgency. They're looking for that forward run or that forward pass every single time.
Although every goal doesn't have to be the Hollywood goal. You know, Celtic intent on passing the ball into the net, as many passes as possible, but Rangers easily clearing it away.
Yeah, Rangers will need to be careful now, because it is all Celtic at the moment after they got that equaliser. And the shot coming in from Callum McGregor, he's claiming it took a deflection over the bar, but John Beaton says it just went clean over.
Well, the Celtic fans now get something to shout about. Dangerous time in the game for Rangers. We're approaching that hour mark. Might Brendan Rodgers turn to someone on the bench? Oh, Kyogo did get to the ball
and
first.
It was actually a save
Butland.
by Jack Butland, a really good save that led to the corner that Greg Taylor ended up scoring from.
I think now the big test for Rangers is, do they have the confidence and the belief to keep doing what they were doing in the first half now, when Celtic have raised their level, they're coming at them, or will they swamp back in front of their own goal and not be able to get back out? Because if they do that, then it's only a matter of time before Celtic get through again. But they've got to take confidence from what's happened before in the game. Got to take confidence and believe that they can go on and win it.
Yeah, Jeffy just winning an aerial battle with Nicholas Kuhn. Rangers haven't really managed to get forward since they conceded that goal. And Nicholas Kuhn just finding a lot more space down this right side than he was in the first half. And another chance here. Jack Butland's had to make a big save from Reo Hatate.
Yeah, saved well. Again, it's another sign of life. It's what Celtic were totally lacking in the first half. It's invention, creation. Hatate taking it first time. Rangers have to weather a storm here. But at the back, Celtic have been the architects of their own downfall at times, with the way they have been careless.
Yeah, it's just a chance. Daisen Maeda is now one-on-one with Jack Butland, takes the touch. Daisen Maeda.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And how quickly can a game of football change? Rangers 1-0 up at half-time, 60 minutes on the clock now. Daisen Maeda has Celtic second, and they are 2-1 ahead.
Tavernier looking at the rest of his players and wondering what is going on here. But that was invention from Daisen Maeda. That's his speed of thought. Everything about it was archetypal Daisen Maeda. And what a prospect Celtic have now. I mean, what a magnificent finish, Ross.
Magnificent finish, yeah. But Raskin with a ridiculous header there, really. That's what I think in the modern day, where people are trying to play too much. Get your foot through that and get it forward, because if you get caught on it, that's exactly what happens. But Maeda, as he's done all season, alert, he's onto it. Great first touch when it's coming out there and a great finish.
I think you go back to the point that you made earlier about Tynecastle. First half performance as poor as anything you'll see, but second half Celtic came alive. I think scored 4 goals, if my memory serves me correctly. So now
the first change of the game for Rangers is going to come at left back. Jefty comes off and Ridvan Yilmaz on. You wonder if that's maybe something to do with the joy that Nicholas Kuhn's been having over the last 10 minutes or so,
and the first half booking that Jefty had.
I think as well, second half, I think Jefty's tried to step out a couple of times and get caught on it, leaving that space in behind for Kuhn. Celtic have shown that before the 2 goals. They showed a little bit of life with that run by Kuhn, and sometimes as an attacking player you only need one action to spring you into the game, and it looks as if that's exactly what's happened here, because Celtic are just getting on here, and yeah, it could be a long afternoon now for Rangers.
Yeah, Celtic's tails will be up. Philip Clement makes his first change of the afternoon. Can Rangers respond after squandering their lead? They will have a corner.
I think when you score in as thrilling a fashion as Maeda has just done, that sends a ripple through the team as well. They have to be careful with this corner from James Tavernier, because they have the ascendancy, they have the lead, they have the impetus, the momentum, but they have to defend this corner.
Yeah, James Tavernier to deliver this one, and it's headed away by Liam Scales. We talked about not only his attacking prowess when it comes to set pieces, but can do his job defensively as well.
Well, it's been an inspired substitution, but the Rangers on the move here.
Yeah, ball into the box, shots blocked.
Oh,
there's a
penalty.
No, I think a free kick was given before that in the box, and Rangers players are complaining. They felt they should have had a penalty, but John Beaton had pointed for an earlier foul. There's quite a bit of pushing going on between some of the players as Mohamed Diamandi's down in the box.
Hugh, you'll know here, what happens if they go back to VAR and they decide that that's not a foul there? That's not a foul.
and then say that's a penalty.
Yeah, I don't think that's a penalty either into the bargain. I think there's
not a lot of contact
it looks
there,
soft.
is there?
There doesn't seem to be any word in John Beaton's ear that he should look at anything, or am I wrong about going too quickly?
He is just telling Kasper Schmeichel to wait a second. They will check through things. It also depends on just when the whistle was blown, and they can check these things. But it was Leon Balogun, after Cameron Carter-Vickers had cleared the ball, I think just caught him, and then the ball landed at the feet of Mohamed Diamande, who does go down very, very easily.
Yeah,
under not a lot of pressure, so it will be play on.
Now, what an infuriating cup final it is. I've never seen such poor distribution of the ball, Ross, from both sides.
Both sides, yeah. It's not what you expected, was it? Just going back to that one there, Hugh, I think the only way you'll get that theatricalness out the game is if you book anyone who dives.
Yeah.
That, for me, Diamande is a blatant dive there, trying to con the referee into a penalty.
Yeah, but Van Yilmaz gives the ball away this time, and last time Rangers gave the ball away, Celtic managed to capitalise. Nicholas Raskin with a challenge. I actually think the foul's gone the other way. Kuhn can't quite believe it.
There was a pass on there for Kyogo, who had made a blistering run, and it just didn't come. So when you talk about Kyogo, how many touches he had, he's making the runs and he's not getting the service.
Has had a quiet afternoon, Kyogo, but some of his best games is when he has a quiet afternoon. Well, he doesn't touch the ball a lot. That was when he was at his best under Ange Postecoglou, that he would rarely be involved and then would pop up with one or two crucial goals. Has done it plenty of times against Rangers.
Yeah, he only needs the one touch all day long. But I mean, I think if Celtic did get another goal to make it 3-1, the final would be over in their favour. But it's a peculiar final. The quality's low. Celtic's passing, here we go again, dilly-dally from Carter-Vickers.
Yeah, this time the defender just decides to clear it into the Rangers half. Proper takes a couple of attempts at clearing it. Doesn't seem as if anyone wants the ball at this point. Finally, Yanis Hadji gets his foot on it, forced to turn back because there's not too many options ahead of him.
That's one who's been really quiet this afternoon, Hadji. I expect, with the confidence that he should have over the last few games, I expected a little bit more from him, from being honest.
Václav Černy's maybe been on the quieter side as well. He's made some big contributions for Rangers this season, but I don't remember seeing his name too much in this half so far.
Astonishing the way Celtic keep going backwards.
You see Kyogo, he made that run again that you were talking about a couple of minutes ago. He'll keep making that run. Eventually someone will give him it.
Is that what good strikers just do? That's what maybe separates some from others, is that there are some that no matter how many times they don't get that pass, they just keep at it.
Well, there's a certain striker who plays for Man City in the Premier League, who's also won the Champions League, Erling Haaland. That's all there. Everyone down south is obsessed about how little he touches the ball. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the 10 players behind you get the ball to you. You've got a goal, you win the game, you go home.
Well, Daizen Maeda now having a run at Leon Balogun, who does really well to slide in. He had to get that challenge right, because Daizen Maeda, with his pace, he was trying to break through. James Tavernier a bit confused, because I think a free kick was given to Rangers, but they did have the ball and were advancing forward. Did just see Dujon Sterling flash up on the screen moments ago. He's going to be the next change for Rangers. We're interested to see whether that is for James Tavernier or whether it's going to be in midfield, because he can play there as well as a booking for Kyogo and all that.
I don't think they can take Tavernier off here. I thought he's played Maeda very, very well, and his delivery from set pieces and from open play will create them a chance at some point. If you take that off, you're basically nullifying another threat.
Kyogo deserved the booking.
Yeah, just clattered into the side of Nicholas Kuhn. Not Nicholas Kuhn, sorry, that would have been quite something. Nicholas Raskin, and it's Leon Balogun that's coming off for Dujon Sterling. So wasn't expected to play at all on Thursday. Leon Balogun ended up having to come on, started this game as well, and took quite a heavy knock in the first half, didn't he?
Doesn't look best pleased, I'd have to say.
Shirt came off. We'll see afterwards, I suppose, if it's tactical or whether it was an injury. There's a chance for Rid van Yilmaz, who gets that all wrong. Not a player you associate with goal scoring. It did pop up from nicely, what was that, about 20, 25 yards out, but just got that shot all wrong, sailed over the bar.
Good chance.
Sat up perfect for him there, didn't it? I think that ball's landed in the Asda car park outside.
Yeah, not one of the best attempts of the game, that one from Ridvan Yilmaz, who was Rangers' first change, came on for Jeff Day.
Well, Celtic haven't reacted to the Dalziel made a goal. Terrific goal, thrilling cup final goal, but they haven't reacted. They're still sloppy. All of the faults of the first half are there in the second half, but they do have the lead. Quite astonishing.
The fact Rangers don't look like bothering them at the moment. They haven't really in this second half at all, apart from, well, there's going to be, 2 more changes
Anthony
for Celtic
Ralston.
in the thing. Well, yeah, remember Alistair Johnson came off injured on Tuesday, had that hip flexor injury, maybe looks in a bit of discomfort still, so he was maybe only scheduled to play a certain amount of time tonight. Arnie Engels will come on as well. We'll wait and see.
I have to say, you're obliged to give your opinion, that's why you're here. I have to say that the difference between Alistair Johnson and Anthony Ralston is considerable. He's not the player that Johnson is, so but he does have the heart, and he's a boyhood fan and all of that stuff, so you want to be on the winning side, but it's a considerable downgrade for me from Alistair Johnson to Anthony Ralston. But Engels, the £11 million man, you're looking for him to do something for you to see out this cup final.
Hugh, what do you think this does moving forward? If Celtic hold on here and they win this final 2-1, being as bad as they have this afternoon, and they're still beating Rangers when they're in good form.
For Rangers, it would be a devastating blow. No other way of looking at it. They had the lead, they had a poor Celtic, and to lose to a poor Celtic, if you lose to a scintillating Celtic, who've taken 3 and 4s off Celtic, off Rangers, whether it was Giovanni van Bronckhorst or Michael Beale or Philippe Clement, but to lose to a poor Celtic for Clement, it snakes and ladders. It takes him back down the ladder to where he started.
Those changes taking place now. Alistair Johnson, Paulo Bernardo off, Arnie Engels and Anthony Ralston coming on to the pitch.
Well, how long we got? How long we played, Andrew?
70 minutes on the clock, so 20 to go of the regulation time. There of course will be some injury time in that as well, and if Rangers manage to get back on level terms, of course goes the distance, extra time and penalties. But Rangers will need to have a bit more inspiration than they've had in this second half. That counter-attack, we mentioned it at the time, where they had a big chance to make it 2-0. They were 4-on-1. The wrong option was played. They didn't manage to make anything of it. Could have made it 2-0, and now they find themselves 2-1 down.
Well, if Celtic get a third, there's not a Rangers fan in the ground who'll believe anything other than it's Celtic's cup. But here they come, and
Barami with the crossfield switch to Václav Černý, who decides to cut in. I was wondering whether it was a good idea or not to shoot from that type of range, but got a lot of power behind it, Václav Černý, and Schmeichel had to punch it out for a corner.
Yeah, if you shoot from that distance, then you best hit the target. It was a good effort there, a good save from Schmeichel.
Yeah, because it didn't look like a save for the cameras. It was a real good save.
Corner comes in from James Tavernier, but once again the delivery not great. It's happened from both sides when Yanis Hadji's taken them as well. They had maybe one good delivery from set pieces so far, but it's not something Rangers have been counting on at all this season. It's something Philippe Clement has talked about wanting to improve. I think maybe the only team in the Scottish Premiership not to score from a corner this season.
But the game's still in the balance. 2-1 Celtic, but it's very much in the balance. Next goal tells the story.
Yeah, Yanis Hadji over on the right trying to play the ball through. It will go out for a Celtic goal kick. There is a full-time score in the Scottish Premiership. Kilmarnock 1, Hearts 0, and that is after a 6th-minute red card for Robbie Dees. Kilmarnock went down to 10 men, then got a penalty. Bruce Anderson scored it and still managed to come away with all 3 points. That's a huge victory for Kilmarnock, and that will be a devastating defeat for Hearts and for Neil Critchley, because you look at the likes of Hibs especially winning yesterday
and rising to the 8th place in the table. It's a devastating blow for Neil Critchley. He's under pressure. And so's Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah, clips that ball over, and it goes to Nicholas Raskin. Rangers will try and create something before they make their next two changes. It's going to be Cyril Dessers and Danilo both coming on, so you'd expect that will one of those be Hamza Igaman, you'd think.
But it shows you Philippe Clement's mindset. He knows that he cannot lose this final. He'll get dog's abuse. But
the ball's landed to Igaman, doesn't catch it properly. Raskin can't keep the ball in play, and Igaman falls to his knees, slams the turf. He knows that was a real opening, just couldn't get the right contact whatsoever.
Celtic, I don't know how often I can say this and how many different ways I can say it, but this is just sloppy. And it's as well for them that Diamande takes here they come again.
Yeah, Rangers have the ball in the Celtic box. Diamande goes for the shot, and that looked for a second as if it might have been heading towards the top corner if it wasn't for the right hand of Kasper Schmeichel. That is a great save.
Yeah, he's outstanding, but he's getting no help at all from his teammates. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, Rangers once again trying to cause some problems in that Celtic box. They'll have a corner. Diamande's cross blocked.
It's actually frightening how many times Celtic players have let Rangers players just run off them.
Yeah. They actually deserve to lose an equalising goal.
And they might lose it here. Diamande, and the ball goes over the line, and we've got one of these at Hampden.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Well, it looked as if it was maybe coming for the last minute or so. Rangers were piling on the pressure in that Celtic box, and it's Mohamed Diamande who manages to squeeze the ball over the line. It's not pretty, but they all count.
Well, Celtic deserve, seconds after I said it, Celtic actually deserved to lose an equaliser. They lost it within seconds. They have been terrible, and the Rangers, for me, would be favourites to go on and win this now.
You look at, is that Arnie Engels who's on Diamande there standing behind him?
It's another own goal.
If Engels pushes up with the rest of the line, that ball comes in and Diamande's offside.
I think Engels scores this.
Yeah, it's Diamande on the turn. No. It takes a nick off of Kyogo on the way through, but I think it may well have been on target anyway. But it was a short corner, so you can maybe say, does that technically counts as Rangers scoring from a corner, even though they didn't actually put it straight into the box? It went short to Igaman. He then crossed it into the front post. Diamande had Engels at his back, spins, shot on the right foot, takes a bit of a nick on the way through, and Celtic are responding by throwing on Adam Ida for Kyogo.
There'll be no point if Celtic lose this cup. There's no point in anyone coming on here and saying, "Oh, we were robbed by this, that, the other." John Beaton's got nothing at all to do with this. It's a terrible performance, and at 2-1 with a wonderful goal from Dalziel Maeda, Celtic should have gone on then, and instead they've retreated and they've got what they deserved. Rangers have equalised.
Yeah, they looked for a while that they might try and push on, and this is nice, really nice football by Celtic initially, but they give away a free kick in the box. Hadji just going to ground, but I was going to say, it's now 15 minutes to go. Completely unpredictable. You have no idea what's going to happen for these next 15 minutes, because both teams have had spells where they've looked a bit dangerous. There's not been a whole lot of quality in the game, but there just has been opportunities, openings for both sides, maybe just spells of 2 or 3 minutes here and there, and it's whoever makes the most of those wee spells that they have.
I think Celtic are so sloppy at the back, they'd be my suggestion to concede another goal.
It's not as if Rangers have been great at the back either. You look at the goal that Dalziel Maeda chance they conceded. It's now Hamza Igaman who's got the option of Hadji on the overlap, who nicks it to the byline, cuts it back. Celtic are claiming the ball went out of play, and I think it's maybe going to be a goal kick to Celtic.
Celtic are underlining my argument that they're so bad at the back that Rangers are favourites to score a third goal and win the cup.
Would you put Rangers down as favourites, Ross?
Based on what we've seen, yes. Celtic have just been so... I can't remember the last time I seen them give balls away in stupid areas under no pressure. It's not the Celtic that everyone's been seeing, but part of that has got to be down to how Rangers have played and how they've pressed. They've set up traps like they did with the first goal, and Celtic have succumbed to it. So fair play Rangers. good for us as fans watching it as well, that it can go either way. It's better like this than someone winning 4-5-0, so I look forward to the last 15 or so.
Which is more than the Celtic fans will, I think.
Yeah, I think both sets of supporters won't be maybe watching through their fingers because at any moment there could be, and it's bad that I'm saying this, could be a mistake that leads to a goal, rather than me thinking, oh, it's going to be a bit of magic from one of the two teams. But you never know. Cup finals, we can see what happens. This game's just flipped so many times as Celtic win a corner,
with the exception of Dyson Maeda's goal, which again is the product of a mistake, but a thrilling finish from Maeda, which tends to make you give him the credit rather than discredit a Rangers player. But other than Dyson Maeda's goal, it's been the mistake cup final.
Arnie Engels standing over this corner has the likes of Liam Scales, Cameron Carter-Vickers to aim for in that box. Right-footed delivery headed away and then scooped up into the air by Hamza Igaman, and eventually ends up in the arms of Jack Butland. There is a derby down south as well today, Manchester derby. Obviously not anywhere near as big as this one. It is currently, 40 minutes into the game. Manchester City 1, Manchester United 0.
Oh, well, I fancied United today, but Pep Guardiola fighting for his reputation, Rangers fighting for a winner.
James Tavernier's delivery headed away.
See, this is case in point for being slack. He just got to get a hold of that and give his teammates a chance to get up. Now they're on the back foot again.
Yeah, Rangers have the ball at the side of the Celtic box after taking a throw in. Czerny attempting that cross, which is blocked.
Where is it? Where's he going now? I mean, really and truly.
Yeah, Ida and Maeda eventually managing to get themselves into Rangers half and up the park before Nicholas Raskin made the interception. We did see before that Rangers equaliser, they were about to make a double change of Danilo and Cyril Dessers were ready and stripped to come on, but clearly that was with the intention of getting a goal. They got that goal before the change was made, and those plans have been abandoned.
Perhaps Philippe Clement knows that a third goal is inevitable for his side, the way Celtic are playing.
Can you ever be that confident in a cup final in a big game like this? Because Celtic are still coming forward. They had the ball in the box with Dyson Maeda there, but Rangers just harrying pretty well, stopping Celtic from being able to get any quality time on the ball, and Jack Butland attempting to gather that high cross into the box and sort of slipped off his gloves before catching it at the second attempt.
The interesting thing will be if we go to extra time. I know that Ross feels that players are pampered to an extent, but Rangers finished at 10 o'clock on Thursday night, and if they're asked to go to extra time on the Sunday afternoon, it's really asking a lot. But you get the feeling Celtic again try to clear the ball without much success.
Yeah, Hadji just falling over as he tried to chest the ball down, but just a couple of attempted clearances there that went back to Rangers players.
Listen, Celtic have just brought £20 million worth of talent off the bench. There's no better time to go and repay that than getting a winning goal here against your rivals in a cup final. But it just doesn't look like that momentum's going to come back.
No. As I say, the Maeda goal should have fired everyone up. It was such a thrilling piece of work by Maeda, but they've actually gone back to the disappointing performance of before Maeda's goal.
Hugh, when have you seen that last, what we just seen there from Arne Engels? Just a punt up the pitch.
Yeah.
It's just not Celtic at all.
No.
This is here for Rangers.
Yeah.
They only need to go up a gear or two and then go and get a winning goal.
Yeah. And, at the back, we've got, to say they're erratic at the back, Celtic is almost a compliment.
Yeah, once again, Celtic having to deal with a ball being played into their half, high into their half. It's headed away by Cameron Carter-Vickers. I think there are still changes Rangers can make. Celtic, have they completed all of theirs? Possibly not, actually. One of their substitution windows was at half time, so I think they probably still can.
I think if it goes to extra time, you've got to be looking at Conor Barron for his energy.
Who would that be for, do you think?
Probably Diamandi or Hadji. I think Hadji's not played a lot of football over the last however many months, so he might tire, even though he didn't play on Thursday.
Do you think that's more of a factor if he's not played for a while, rather than that wouldn't help his fitness, rather than someone that's played on Thursday being able to go again today for a longer period of time?
100%. There's a massive difference between fitness and match fitness. It don't matter how good you are, how fit you are. If you haven't played a lot of football, you ain't match fit, and it finds you out very quickly.
There was a attempted cross into the box from Arne Engels there, which was overhit. You can see some of the flags in the background, just the wind still swirling about Hampden. It's not the type of conditions that's conducive to great football.
Well, it's Scotland in December, and I never believe you can go on too much about the weather. It's where we live. You can go on about how poor Celtic have been. That they're hoping against hope that they can snatch this, but they're so bad at the back. I think a third goal for Rangers is an inevitability.
We will see what happens when it comes to the end. There is 6.5 minutes to go of the 90. If Rangers don't come away, will this be seen as a huge missed opportunity? They've not been at their best either. They've had much better performances in the last few weeks, but if they've caught Celtic on an off day and not managed to take advantage of it, that will be a real sickener for Philippe Clement and his players.
Well, yeah, of course. Arne Engels, a good pass there.
A good defending by Ridvan Yilmaz initially, but Nicholas Kuhn has a chance to shoot here, takes his time. Ida goes down in the box. A couple of claims for a penalty. I'm not sure he was ever going to get one there. He just took a heavy touch in a crowded area.
Played for that. Rangers bolt to the other end. It's that kind of finish to the game now.
Yeah, this could turn into a bit of a basketball game for the last 5 minutes or so, you'd think.
When we were speaking earlier about Egaman and players like that, Czerny, over the last few weeks he's probably been the key to Rangers creating chances and stuff. He's not been on the ball at all today.
He is now.
Here he is, and plays it to Diamandi. A nice skip away from Barami, who slams it into the side netting.
Well, I'll repeat. For me, a third goal for Rangers before the end of the regulation time looks very much on.
Have you seen enough from Rangers in an attacking sense? I know you say that Celtic have made mistakes and are looking slack at the back, but have Rangers done enough in an attacking sense that it would make it inevitable that they're going to score in the next 5 minutes?
But we're now into that territory where it's one kick of the ball and the cup's won and lost, and Celtic at the back are wasteful, anything but resolute. They're there to be picked off.
Well, there's going to be another change for Rangers. It's an attacking one. Danilo is coming on. Nadim Barami comes off. So we will see that partnership that we've seen of Egaman and Danilo that have been working well together over the last few weeks. We're obviously split up, couldn't play on Thursday night with Danilo not in the European squad, but they'll have their chance for the next few minutes of the 90, and then more than that if it goes to extra time.
Well, careless, they're still doing it. Now they've got a chance, Celtic.
Here's an opening for Celtic now, breaking away. Nicholas Kuhn, he has options. One of them is Arne Engels on his right. He cuts it back. Nicholas Kuhn has all the space in the box.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And he has been the man for the big occasion this season, and he may well have Celtic's most important goal of the season so far.
Well, if Celtic don't hold on to this, then they should start the team bus, send it back to Celtic Park, make the players walk. They've got the cup in their hands now, and they can only throw it away.
Yeah, this was, Rangers just didn't have the bodies back, did they? 4 against 4 it was, attacking. This time Arne Engels cuts it back into the middle of the box. No one stayed.
And you didn't flush baby wipes?
No.
Dental floss?
No.
Cat litter?
No.
I just can't understand what...
Hang on a moment. Yep, we'll get someone out to your tenant and get that looked at.
With Direct Line's landlord emergency cover added to your landlord insurance, whether your tenants block the toilet or break a door lock, we'll get you from problem to solution as quickly as possible. Direct Line, we're on it.
Landlord insurance underwritten by UK Insurance Limited. Residential properties only. Cover up to £1,500 per call out.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Jaguar. Looking to sell your Jaguar? Contact them today for a no-obligation quotation.
The Premier Sports Cup Final. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
What a game it has been at Hampden. Celtic 3, Rangers 3 in the League Cup final, and we are into extra time. What is going to happen? I'm not sure anyone can predict what's going to happen. Hugh Keevins and Ross McCormack with me, Andrew Maclean, in the studio with Gordon Duncan at Hampden with Gordon Dalziel and Mark Wilson. We'll check in with them at half time of extra time. It's 1.5 minutes into that 30. Not much has happened since then. There has been one change though. Alex Vai coming on for Greg Taylor.
I agree with you. There's no indication of what is going to happen for sure. But my feeling is that Celtic are too bad to win the cup. And, you know, my gut instinct is that Rangers will score a fourth goal. Celtic have been appalling.
Yet they've still managed to score 3 times themselves. It's just been such a mad game. Celtic haven't been at their best. Rangers haven't been at their best either. And it's now across these next 30 minutes or so, and then potentially penalties to see who's going to get that big first trophy of the season.
Well, Celtic had the cup. When Kuhn scored, Celtic had the cup. Now they're trying to win it back because of defensive mistakes that are laughable. For Danilo to get the goal, and good luck to him, but the defensive mistakes that Celtic are making are nothing other than laughable.
Long ball played up by Jack Butland. We'll go out for a Celtic throw on this near side, and I think it will just continue to be frantic.
I think if Rangers don't go on to win
Look at this.
Oh, it's a penalty. He's inside the box.
Well, I think it's going to be a free kick to Rangers just outside the box. It's going to be a yellow card as well. Václav Černý going down under the challenge of Liam Scales. Just a glance over, I think, from John Beaton to his assistant there, just wondering whether that was maybe in the box or not. We'll get a better view this time. He's certainly pulling
on the line is in the box
of Václav Černý, who part of his body looked as if it was maybe on the line, which would be a penalty, but we'll maybe need to see a better angle. But it will go to VAR, of course, but John Beaton is setting up for a free kick. Looks as if it will just be that.
But the point I made earlier, I repeat, Celtic are too bad today to win this cup final. Scales, just another terrible mistake at the back. Celtic have been error strewn all day long, and they are too bad to win the cup.
Well, the free kick will stand, and it's going to be one of James Tavernier or Yanis Hadji to take, the right foot of the Rangers captain, or the left of the Romanian international. It's the type of angle that you would say suits a left footer better, but does James Tavernier pull rank? He does. Free kick over the bar.
He's lost his superpower, hasn't he? How many times over the years have you seen that?
Has done it against Celtic, of course, already. We'll see a better angle here of this foul, and
it's inside the box.
Now, I think that might be a bit of a controversial one, because he's done for pulling his shirt, isn't he? And Scales is inside the box, and it's almost as if he's pulling Černy's shirt over the line into the box.
But the moment is gone, Neil, because the free kick was awarded. But as I say, Celtic will lose the cup because this is what they do all day long. They've made mistake after mistake, and they are having the worst day, I think, since Brendan Rodgers came back. Even in games that they have lost and were poor, they have never ever under Brendan Rodgers been as poor collectively and individually as they have been today. And at the back, it's criminal, and they look as if they will lose a fourth goal.
I'm not one to speak about referees, hardly ever. I do. I let them get on with it. But who's in that VAR room? That's inside the box. It's a penalty. It don't matter whether he's pulling his top inside the box and his body's out. You can clearly see it's at least on the line, a little bit inside the box. It don't matter where he starts pulling it, it's where he finishes pulling it.
Yeah, if a foul continues into the box, then a penalty is given. That is the rule. Certainly looked as if the fistful of shirt that he had, he was sort of pulling him towards inside the box. It'll be an interesting one to hear the thoughts of Philippe Clement on that. It may not come to anything, it will all be forgotten, I'm sure, if Rangers go on to win the cup. But if Rangers don't win the cup, it will be, I think, a moment that we'll hear a lot about over the next week or so, maybe more than that.
Well, it's John Beeson, the referee. He was supposed to have it in for Celtic, according to the Celtic supporters, but he gave a decision there that's very much in Celtic's favour.
Well, Celtic trying to take a free kick quickly and aren't allowed to. It was over the top to Daisen Maeda. But it's a good point about VAR. They've looked at it, but maybe they do have a better angle than us. They're able to zoom in and see, and maybe there is evidence that shows that it wasn't inside the box.
Well, they're going to have to show the viewers at home then. They can't just show one angle and say it's not a penalty.
I suppose the VAR footage and what is shown by the broadcasters is all quite different, because they're going on, they can sort of choose their own angles and they can zoom in and look from different ways.
Now go back to you, Ross, use your professional experience. Go back to the point. Rangers finished playing at 10 o'clock on Thursday night, and now they're into extra time, and they look fitter than Celtic.
Celtic have looked a yard off it today, haven't they? I've got to agree with that. But I think momentum's a big thing in football here. I think because Rangers are the ones in the ascendancy, you find that extra yard from somewhere. Celtic might be feeling a little bit sorry for themselves, and I'm not playing well, now I'm tired. Whereas Rangers, when you're playing well and you've got a chance to go and win a cup, you don't feel those little aches and pains and a little bit of tightness in your hamstring and stuff. You just get on with it. But I agree with you, Rangers look a lot fitter going on today's evidence than Celtic do.
It's quite an intangible thing, just what confidence can do for a player. But is there something you noticed throughout your career? If you were in a good goal scoring spell, did you feel different on the pitch? Did you feel yourself that you were maybe just a better player if you had that about you? Well,
listen, I certainly didn't run as much as these guys did, so that helps. But no, listen, when you feel good, you get into a game feeling good. You've scored the previous week, or you've had a good result. It plays its part. It does. It gives you that extra little bit of momentum and good feeling, and it goes a long way. And Rangers are showing that now. Because, like you said, they do look a yard sharper than Celtic, and I've not seen Celtic this far off it in a long time. But like we were saying earlier, I think if Rangers don't go on to win this, it could have a lot disastrous consequences moving forward, because they'll think, if we can't beat Celtic at their worst, how do you beat them at their best? How demoralising would that be for players if you come up in a big chance like this to beat Celtic in a meaningful game, which here's a big chance for Celtic, and the touch was way too heavy, and that was Arne Engels in there. The pass was spot on. He just needed to get that touch into the box, and he would have had a free shot at goal on Jack Butland, but overhit it, and Butland was able to gather. That is a huge opportunity.
I'm glad he wasn't expensive.
That is the type of situation you just expect a player of, a guy that's played in Bundesliga last season and for a couple of seasons now, Belgian international. You'd expect him to be able to just take that under his control and get a shot away. He'll be disappointed with that, Engels, as Rangers now come forward. James Tavernier gets that cross all wrong. Looked as if he could maybe either cut it back or play it low across the 6-yard box, floats it over everyone, and that will be disappointing for the Rangers captain. Kasper Schmeichel gathering the cross from the other side. He's taken a bit of a knock to his shin, but like at the other end, that's a big opening. And James Tavernier didn't really have much in the way of players to aim for that were going into the 6-yard box. It's hard to even really tell what he was trying to do with that cross.
I think he's trying to fire it across the face, isn't he? But there's no one in there. But that's unlike James Tavernier. Usually his final bit of decision making, his delivery is top draw, but he's just been off it this season.
Yeah, we're seeing replays of Kasper Schmeichel just landed a bit awkwardly coming to collect that ball. Rangers making another change. Hamza Igaman, his afternoon is over, and it's going to be Cyril Dessers to come on.
Well, Celtic look exhausted. They've never raised a gallop all day long. I don't know where the exhaustion comes from, but they look tired. and Rangers looked the likelier.
Dessers is a player that's had so much criticism, a lot of that coming from Rangers supporters. If he was the one to score a winning goal, that would be massive for him, just given the journey he's been on at Rangers. There's been at times where supporters have cheered when he's been substituted off. Was it in the semi-final against Motherwell? Was it in that game where at one point he sort of miscontrolled the ball or tried to chest it off and it didn't work, and the crowd got on his back and he was sort of gesturing angrily back at them? So he's
just looking at another pass from Cameron Carter-Vickers, Ross, that went straight to a Rangers player. It's an epidemic that Celtic are suffering from.
So it went straight to a Rangers player. They gave it back to Celtic. I think Cal McGregor then gave it back to Rangers. It's like a hot potato at the minute. No one wants it.
I think Cyril Dessers is about to get booked here before he's even touched the ball. It was Cameron Carter-Vickers played a pass away and Cyril Dessers was just late on him, left one on him, and it's a yellow card for the newly introduced striker.
Well, a cup final of mistakes, silly gestures like that one from Dessers.
But does that little touch on his boot there from Dessers to Carter-Vickers, does that warrant the way that he jumped up in the air and landed a big strapping centre-half like that?
Dessers, I don't even know how many yellow cards there's been in this game so far. There's been
plenty.
Quite a lot, to the point where, obviously not in that situation with Dessers being booked, just coming on, but sometimes when you see John Beaton reaching for his yellow card, you think, has that player already been booked or not? That's a nice turn by Arnie Engels to get away from Yanis Hadji. Nicholas Kuhn now with an opportunity to try and see if Celtic can do something. This first half of extra time has actually flown in. There's only 3 minutes to go, but that cross from Anthony Ralston goes way into the area behind the goal at Hampden.
Well, as I say, for me, he's too much of a downgrade from Alistair Johnson. Position that Celtic might need to look at come January. Rangers players going down with cramp now.
Yeah, Mohamed Diamandi just having to have his legs stretched out by Dujon Sterling there.
You speak about Rangers and the embarrassment of perhaps losing to a Celtic side who are having an appalling day. But what about the embarrassment from a Celtic perspective of the way in which they've lost goals, gone to extra time against a team who finished late on Thursday night, players falling down with cramp? How embarrassing would it be for Celtic to lose this final?
Well, it comes down to professional pride, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have expected to put a performance in like this today, but it's happened. But the weird thing is, and like we said earlier on, they've still went on and scored 3 goals. I wonder what the scoreline would have been if they'd played well.
Yeah, Danilo and Dessers trying to link up for the first time, unable to, but the story of the game continues. Celtic win the ball back and then instantly give it back to Rangers. Yanis Hadji, who's maybe starting to look a bit leggy over on that left side, which is probably not surprising given his lack of football. And we're now into the 105th minute of the game, so I can't imagine there'll be much time added on here. And we'll go back to the guys at Hampden to get the picture from what's going on at the National Stadium.
This would be a good time for Rangers to score, and they're still bringing players on.
Yeah, Connor Barron and Kieran Dowell, I think, were the two that were getting ready to come on.
Just to replace those who have nothing left to give. But Celtic will need to see out this first half of extra time. Rangers swarming all over them.
It's just clear there's a real sort of lack of urgency now as Czerny fires it into the feet of Dessers and Celtic are having to hook it clear. But I think it is just tired legs now that even if the quality wasn't really there during the 90 minutes, it was still frantic. There was still quite a bit happening, certainly as the game went on, but it's maybe starting to slow down a bit. I think it maybe is. Oh no, there's going to be 1 minute added.
It's tired minds that you need to worry about, Ross.
Yeah, you see Hatate there as well. He's given Adam Ida 2 barrels there. What he wants is him to make that run into the channel, not to come short to feet, because that's been the problem all day. It goes up to them and it's not sticking. He was wanting him to make that run in the channel and he refused the run, and he's got an earful there from Hatate.
Celtic are going to make a change as well. You'd expect all these changes will come at half time of extra time. A man that has won plenty of trophies in his time at Celtic, has won this competition numerous times. James Forrest come on, bring that bit of experience.
Not only that, but if he were to be a cup winner today, he would join Bobby Lennox on the list of all-time competition winners with 25 for Celtic. He hasn't scored a goal this season, James Forrest, so now would be a good time.
See what I just said a couple of minutes ago there, he's wanting that running behind, because every time they've gave it to feet, that's what happens, it keeps coming back. There's no respite for them, they can't get out.
Tierney's now got a groin problem.
Half time of extra time at Hampden.
Yes, and if it was tense before, it is getting even more intense here at the National Stadium. Still Celtic 3, Rangers 3. A tired opening to extra time, really. No real goal scoring chances. Probably the best would be when Celtic carved through and sent a pass from Hatate into Engels, but it was a heavy touch from Marnie Engels. He was right in front of goal. If the control was right, it would have been a fine opportunity to score, but he couldn't take it. And it is tired bodies and tired minds, as you guys have been alluding to. Mohamed Diamandi's down getting a rub. Václav Černý has some sort of issue. Even Kasper Schmeichel's been in the wars. And Rangers will send on Kieran Dowell and Conor Barron at the break. They're getting a pep talk from Philippe Clement. James Forrest similarly from Brendan Rodgers. It is absolutely anybody's.
But it certainly is. I mean, you're right in highlighting the opportunity Engels had. I mean, I think some of the players have got an excuse, the ones that started about having tired legs, but Engels looks like he's got tired legs, and he's just recently come on the pitch, because I thought it was a brilliant piece of play from Celtic. Great pass and vision from Hatate. He has got to take that into his stride and get a shot off at least, and he's been slack. I know he plays a part in the third goal for Celtic, but he's been slack. But it's in the balance, this one. You just really don't know which way it's going to go.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you summed it up well there, Gordon. It's anybody's cup final. There's no doubt about that. A lot of tired legs out there, a lot of tired minds, lack of concentration, a mistake. We've seen plenty of them this afternoon. A bit of magic, whatever it may be, and it might even go to penalty kicks to give it more excitement.
Well, that's it. We're probably at the stage, we're beyond it mattering who deserves it. I don't think either team really. I mean, it's 3 each for a reason. They've both had good parts, they've both had bad parts. 6 goals, we've shared them from the second half of extra time. It's just going to be who takes a moment from now on.
Yeah, there's maybe a hero out there in the next 15 minutes for either side, or it might be a goalkeeper after penalty kicks, or a villain that's missed a penalty kick. We've still got a bit of drama to go, although there's only 15 minutes left of the cup.
Interesting though, it is Nicholas Kuhn who goes off for James Forrest, because he still looks sharp in moments, Nicholas Kuhn, but he goes off for James Forrest. And as we said, Conor Barron replacing Mohamed Diamandi for Rangers, and Kieran Dowell also coming on as well. So we'll just give you news of that Kieran Dowell change as he comes on. He is going to come on in place of Václav Černý. So the second half of this extra time in the League Cup final at Hampden is getting underway right now.
And you didn't flush baby wipes?
No.
Dental floss?
No.
Cat litter?
No.
I just can't understand what...
Hang on a moment. Yep, we'll get someone out to your tenant and get that looked at.
With Direct Line's landlord emergency cover added to your landlord insurance, whether your tenants block the toilet or break a door lock, we'll get you from problem to solution as quickly as possible. Direct Line, we're on it.
Landlord insurance underwritten by UK Insurance Limited. Residential properties only. Cover up to £1,500 per call out.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. New school year, new bugs. Get advice on infections and viruses at your local pharmacy.
Well, here we go. Will those changes change this game up? Will there be a hero at Hampden in the next 15 minutes? Or is this one going to the lottery of penalties? What would be a very rare penalty shootout between Celtic and Rangers. Does not happen often at all.
It'd be 15 slow motion minutes coming up, judging by the pace at which they're moving. Barron, you think, would have to breathe fresh life into Rangers. Jamesy Forrest, so often the hero for Celtic, but they've played so badly today. I cannot see them get a fourth goal.
Well, Celtic trying to create the first opportunity of the second half of extra time. That's Alex Valle, who hasn't been too involved since he came off the bench after 90 minutes for Greg Taylor. And this time the ball just slips under his foot and goes out for. So it's not just the players that have played 90 minutes that are looking slack. It's maybe just spreading across all 22 on the pitch.
Must be the after effects of the pyrotechnics. I think they've inhaled too much dangerous substances.
Cyril Dessers has the option of Yanis Hadji, but that was never going to be the pass that was on. He's not got that pace, Hadji, to get in behind and win a foot race.
No. Need to wait until Forrest gets on the ball, see what creative juices he brings to the game.
Yeah, what did you make of that change, Ross? James Forrest on for Nicholas Kuhn.
Well, we can't obviously see what's been said there between the coaching staff and the players. He might have been feeling something, because if it was me, I'd leave him. It's only 15 more minutes. You can't tell me that you can play 105 and then not play an extra 15. But it's a chance for Forrest to come on and be a hero, which he's done over the years.
Do John Sterling, the latest booking?
Next to be booked, just handled the ball as Dyson Maeda tried to knock it past him. With those two Rangers changes, Václav Černý coming off, Mohamed Diamandi off as well, Barron and Dowell, maybe more functional selections. Maybe takes a bit of creativity out of that Rangers side in these final parts of the game.
Well, Celtic have the ball. Oh my, the passing, dear me.
Yeah, given away again, and Raskin does the same.
To me, to you.
Yeah, I think this may well be the story of the next few minutes until the end of this game, because there just has been that lack of quality. We talked about the tiredness, I was going to say creeping in, but it's maybe hitting some of the players like a freight train.
I think
with heavy legs out there, heavy pitch.
We'll go back to that heavy touch by Arne Engels. That ought to have been a goal for Celtic. It's just a terrible touch when he had a great chance, and the cross from Scales, it's awful. So they'll go on their error-strewn way until penalty kicks, I think.
Nicholas Raskin, the latest player to go down. Ridvan Yilmaz just checking on him, but I think Rangers have probably made all of their changes. This is just another stoppage from cramp. Has covered a lot of distance today, Nicholas Raskin, but also on Thursday night against Tottenham.
Yeah, but see, it makes it all the more embarrassing for Celtic, I think, that this side who played on Thursday and Celtic can make nothing of it.
We just call full time now and just go straight to penalties. I'm not sure we're going to miss a whole lot if it continues on like this.
I still think there's a moment here somewhere, whether it be a mistake like the rest of the game or someone just producing something. I think there's a moment left in the game.
Does just tend to happen in these matches, doesn't it? How often are there late goals, big winners? We see it. We saw it at the end of the 90 minutes here, so you can't write anything off. There may well be, as you say, moment of magic, an error.
Well, you don't have to go back to May, or you don't have to go back to May to the cup final. Adam Ida's belated goal, but I mean, Adam Ida, he really does need.
Not really been involved
up the backside.
has he since he came on.
He's just been a non-event.
I think that's another sign of fatigue that we're seeing. Is just that hooked ball over the shoulder just to clear it instead of maybe trying to take it down and play a pass.
Well, I said to you 15 slow motion minutes, but Ida, for me, lackadaisical. Needs to get involved. Maybe Celtic need to get the ball to him, see what he can do for you.
Probably, I think the quality into him has got to be a little bit better. Some of the balls that he's been asked to control, they're knee high and stuff, they're not easy. Never mind when you've got 6 foot centre halves up your behind. So I think the quality into him's got to be a little bit better. That goes for both sides as well. There's been that sort of little amount of quality in the game. It's been unbelievable.
Yeah, Celtic just in possession now, not in any rush to get the ball forwards as Yanis Hadji clatters into Anthony Ralston, who had played the pass. He's gone down holding his face. I'm not sure whether it was the shoulder maybe of Yanis Hadji, who's now been booked.
Is there anyone who hasn't been booked yet?
John Beaton.
Yeah, one of those where he was just trying to press Anthony Ralston, ended up running into him after the ball had gone. Well, I say it was actually a bit more than that. It's more intentional, just tries to block him off, doesn't he? And he's quite forceful in it, Yanis Hadji.
Anthony Ralston counting his teeth at the moment. But I mean, the Celtic players must see Rangers players falling all around with cramp and problems, and
just give them a bit of belief that they can pick an opening if there are tired legs.
But look at that for a pass. I mean, they can't pass the ball 3 yards.
Ridvan Yilmaz winning it back and then immediately losing possession again to Anthony Ralston. We are in the 112th minute at the National Stadium as Alex Vai almost lets the ball get away from him but manages to recover it, but given away by Reo Hatate. Then cleared up the park a couple of times, and this is going to be thought for a second that Jack Butland was maybe close to handling that outside of his box. John Beaton did look across to his assistant just to make sure it wasn't the case. Certainly on first inspection it looked as if he was just inside his own box. Of course, it's the type of thing that VAR will look at.
We'll have another look ourselves here. Inside.
He is inside.
No question.
And then he'll just hoof that one up the park to see if you can cause any issues in that Celtic defence, but it's just headed away by Cameron Carter-Vickers.
We're now looking for that moment that Ross was talking about, because surely to goodness the next team to score wins the cup.
We said that, and
I know.
That you're talking about the inevitability of there being a goal. Is that eroded now, Hugh? As Celtic make their way into the box, Adam Ida with the strike, he's maybe got another chance to try and shoot, but it's blocked a couple of times and eventually hooked clear. But then is that inevitability now eroded just based on what you've seen over the last?
There's 6 minutes to go now. These Rangers players are out on their feet. Get the ball to Forrest or whoever and see what you can do.
That's nice from Alex Vai. Just dropped the shoulder, gets away from his man, feeds the ball into the box, and it's hooked away by Robin Proper. Is that something as a player, if you see opposition players going down with cramp if it's late in the game, does that give you that maybe a bit more of a spring in your step to think, you know what, they could be there for the taking?
Yeah, I mean, usually you don't really think about it if it's only one, but it seems to be there's a number of the Rangers players struggling. So I think if Celtic can up it, but listen, I'm not even going to say that because I've been saying it all afternoon. They ain't going to up it, and they haven't done. But if they possibly could, then there's a chance here.
Rangers, oh my goodness.
Yeah, given away by Adam Ida, who knows he'd made a mistake because he was charging back to try and recover, but Celtic did get the ball back in the end with James Forrest. Hatate through, and here is James Forrest. Some of the more fresh legs on the pitch, James Forrest, but eventually dispossessed as he tried to break into Rangers' box.
Rangers look as if they're trying to stonewall it to the final whistle and take penalties. Now Celtic, they're playing against men who are out on their feet, so they have the impetus, but can they do anything with it?
And then there's those gambles you take. Do you see Rangers looking a bit tired and you try and throw something at it, but then there's the flip side of that potentially you leave yourself more exposed?
Yeah, you do. You can leave yourself exposed, but on the evidence of what we're seeing now, it doesn't look as if Rangers are going to come out and
capitalise on it.
Look for a counter attack.
The bus is well and truly parked now. It's up to Celtic. Do they have any imagination, any guile to break down this defence?
Yeah, everyone but
my
Cyril Dessers behind the ball for Rangers. He was trying to get back behind the ball when Callum McGregor
passed it
of
out
all
the park.
players just passed it straight out the park. Looked a pretty simple 10-yard pass, but I think that maybe just shows the levels we're at if Callum McGregor is doing something so uncharacteristic like that.
That sums up Celtic's day. Rangers are trying to use up as much time as possible. Celtic don't look as if they have the imagination. There's nothing doing.
You know you're struggling, don't you, when Callum McGregor's doing something like that? Probably seen him give it away 5 times in the last decade.
Yeah, and Arne Engels giving it away there. Celtic managed to get away with that one and get it back in their possession, but as is the case with pretty much all the time, it's only in their possession for a few seconds before it ends up back with Rangers. Ridvan Yilmaz to take another throw in.
They will look back on this cup final, Celtic, as a day when they let themselves down very, very badly.
Yeah, I think this would, if it does go to penalties, would be the first penalty shootout between Celtic and Rangers since it was hooked suspiciously into the air by Robin Proper, and Rio Hatate not happy that a foul was given against him on Ridvan Yilmaz. I think it was the Cup semi-final when Rangers were in the Championship. That would have been the last time that Celtic and Rangers took penalties.
Was that the day that Tom Rogic missed the last penalty? Yeah.
When Rangers were in the Championship under Mark Warburton, Ronnie Dyla was the Celtic manager.
And the Celtic issued a statement the following day to say that he would not be the Celtic manager when the next season started, and that brought in Brendan Rodgers for the first time.
I'll need to look this up, but I'm sure I remember hearing around that time that was the first penalty shootout between Celtic and Rangers in decades. Hadn't happened for a long time before that. And with the way this game is going, 3 minutes left.
Oh yeah. They're
of
both
extra time.
They're both out on their feet. It'll go to penalties.
Ridvan Yilmaz with the throw in. James Tavernier just slipping as he tries to, and he'll need to be careful, because those are the situations where he knows he cannot foul when Celtic are trying to break away, because A, he wants to be on the pitch, and B, if there are penalties coming up, James Tavernier will be one of the takers.
Corner Celtic. Now
Scales.
Yeah. Anthony Ralston.
Yeah, he's feeling his hamstring now, so that's not looking too good for Anthony Ralston. But I think Celtic have used all their substitutions, so he's not going to be able to make way for anyone.
Will there be one last chance here?
No. I don't think
not
so.
having it, Hugh? No.
Nah.
Well, it's going to be a corner delivery on the right boot of Arnie Engels. See where this drops or whose head it lands on. But
terrible corner.
I mean,
doesn't beat the first man. Actually, not only does it not beat the first man, it lands at the feet of the first man. But Celtic still have possession, flicked over the top by Liam Scales out for Rangers goal kick. But in those situations, especially players that maybe haven't played the whole game, even the players that are the more fresh, don't look as if they're fresh at all.
No. It's been a strange old day.
It's taking a toll on everyone, isn't it?
But it'll go to penalties now, and it's the lottery.
I think even the goalkeepers look knackered, don't they? It's when you know it's one of those days, especially with the weather conditions. The wind has been swirling around Hampden. Yanis Hadji gets the flick on from Jack Butland's long ball, but just goes out of play. 1 minute to go of the 30 minutes of extra time. Certainly doesn't look as if there is going to be that one moment. There's not going to be a hero unless someone can create something in the next minute, and it looks as if we'll be going to penalties. Will that be in the mind of the players right now, Ross? Will they be thinking that far ahead, or will they just need to concentrate on the here and now? And
listen, I think we're in that stage now of the game where no one wants to make a mistake, because that's what you'll be remembered for. But I'm the same as you. This cup final probably deserves to go to penalties, to be honest. And then when it gets there, what way it goes, then like you said, it's a lottery. Anyone can miss a penalty.
Yeah, there'll be the intrigue of who will put their hand up to take.
Yeah. And you're also talking about penalty takers who, some of them will be out on their feet.
Yeah, emotionally as well, with the toll it's taken. If you are more tired and you're feeling those aches and pains and you've got heavy legs, then it'll just make those penalties a lot tougher. Make it seem like a much tougher task when you're stepping up to take it. It has hit 120 minutes, and I think it is full time at Hampden. Well, we'll just wait to see whether it is. We will go back to the National Stadium.
Oh, what a cup final this has been. Nothing changing in extra time. Still Celtic 3, Rangers 3, and we are heading to penalties to decide the League Cup. An incredible end to this one. Not an ounce of football played in the second portion of extra time. Two tired teams. Celtic probably with the shade of territory and possession and opportunity, but nothing clear cut, Gordon, and off the penalties we go.
Look, you can't decide who's going to win this. It was the last 15 minutes was just a case of Celtic had possession, Rangers dug in deep, they looked a lot of tired legs out there on the pitch. Now it's a case of having strong minds, Gordon, because this takes a lot of concentration. It takes a bit of bottle, let me tell you, to step up there and put one in the back of the net. There's going to be a hero. It might be a goalkeeper, or it might just be a villain, somebody missing a bad penalty kick.
Yeah, it's a nerve-wracking time for any player. never mind the fans sitting around us here. But you're right, there's a lot of tired legs out there in extra time. A busy schedule for the teams, European football midweek for both, and Rangers obviously a lot taking at their legs on Thursday, so they were certainly hanging in there towards the end. I don't think they had any sustained period of pressure or attack in the second half. But I mean, big moment. We were saying, Daz says, would you take one? I said, I think
you've got to as a manager, you're probably prepared for this, but you've made that many substitutions. You know what I mean? You don't know how the game is going to plan out, so you're actually looking at your players in the eye and saying, right, okay, get your hand up there, be confident to go up there, step up and score.
Well, Celtic's two penalty takers, Arnie Engels and Adam Ida, are both on the pitch, so you'd imagine they would take. Similarly for Rangers, James Tavernier's on the pitch, so he would take. The experience of James Forrest,
I don't think so. I think guys
Callum
like McGregor's got to step up there
to
as
find
well.
a couple of others.
Yeah, and you look at
Hatate's taken before, so that sounds like a sensible-ish 5. What about for Rangers? Tavernier's a stick on. You look at the attacking player, Hadji perhaps, the set-piece taker.
Just come on and say touch the ball though.
Danilo.
Is Dessers a centre forward that's confident enough to step up there and say, yeah, I'm the man, I'll take
He's your man.
Yeah, well, you're a centre forward, you're a goal scorer. You don't let it depend on defenders. I know defenders are sometimes good at stepping up and scoring, but if you're a goal scorer, you've got to take the responsibility.
And then, of course, two experienced goalkeepers who've been around the block in Kasper Schmeichel and Jack Butland.
I just wondered about Schmeichel because he was injured there in the first period, and I thought, is he struggling? And I wonder how mobile he is. He had a few touches after that, but yeah, two fantastic goalkeepers who have played at the top level, but I don't know how much that counts for anything when it goes to a penalty shootout like this. I wonder which end
Exactly, that's part of it for the mind games, in which fans can try and influence things. Of course, these sides met in a Scottish Cup semi-final on penalties. It was separated 2016, and Rangers came out on top that day. The likes of Tom Rogic, you'll remember, involved. So John Beaton just explaining the coin toss procedures. It's like beat the pundit, only less important this.
The only thing I'd say to this, Gordon, if I'm James Tavernier,
and I think we're going to take them in front of the... Let me see, double check. I thought John Beaton signalled towards the Rangers end.
I would be taking the first penalty kick. I would decide to go first.
You?
No, my
you
team.
Would take the last one
my team. My team. If I was the captain, which I was in the cup final, decide to go first. Try and put the pressure on the opposition. For me, get the first penalty in, try and score it, and it puts a little bit pressure on the guy coming up next.
These are going to be taken in front of the Rangers fans. So Jack Butland and Kasper Schmeichel getting their instructions from John Beaton. We know VAR is in operation. We know they're very strict about goalkeepers remaining on the line when it comes to penalties these days. So that will be the full message for them, I am sure. And as for the players, nervous wait. Both squads line the technical areas here at Hampden, arm in arm, waiting to see which team comes out on top. James Tavernier, it looks like, is going to take the first kick. The only thing he needs is a ball, because it's not made its way to him yet. We will hand back to you guys in the studio and enjoy while you can.
Wow, it all comes down to this. James Tavernier picks up the ball and will be making his way to the penalty spot. He's getting a few words from Kasper Schmeichel, who just wanted a bit of a feel of the ball before making his way to the goal line. Don't know if that's a bit of mind games or not, but it's going to be the Rangers captain to step up and take these. It's at the Rangers end. I think it was James Tavernier. It was looked as if it was him that won the coin toss and opted for it to be at that end. You heard what Gordon Dale said. Captain takes responsibility, puts Celtic under early pressure. Tavernier, for me, has been Rangers' best player in recent weeks. The inspiration, and I don't expect him to miss. Well, here he is, steps up, right-footed, first penalty of this shootout. A little dance, and then strikes into the corner. Kasper Schmeichel went the right way. It wasn't necessarily in the top or bottom corner. It was one of those that people will sometimes say it's an okay height for a goalkeeper, but James Tavernier, it's so far in the corner that Kasper Schmeichel was unable to get a hand on it.
Yep. Any penalty that hits the side netting, the keeper's going to have to do very, very well to get there. He's going to have to move early. And with the technique the players have got these days, if they see a goalkeeper moving early, they just roll it the other way. Adam Ida will be first up for Celtic. Has scored so many crucial goals for Celtic, most of them last season when he first came in. That's why Celtic paid big money
to bring him in permanently in the summer, and he's going to be the first one to take responsibility for Celtic, eye to eye with Jack Butland, and sends the Rangers goalkeeper the wrong way. A big cheer from him, and it is 1-1, and the tension just builds and builds.
Yeah, fascinating now. Everyone loves penalty shootouts. Hadji next for Rangers. Had a mixed afternoon, Ross.
Yeah, mixed. Yeah, a bit like everyone really. No one's really been a standout. I was saying there actually. I think we might have a little bit of a surprise. I was with Casper at Leeds United, and he fancies himself as a player, but I would not be surprised to see him take one of the 5 penalties.
I think his hand's gone up, yeah.
I'd be surprised if it didn't.
And then it's all down to the manager and whether he wants his goalkeeper taking a penalty or not. It's Yanis Hadji to step up, delays, and Kasper Schmeichel goes the right way again but can't get his hand on it. Yanis Hadji rolls it into the bottom corner and gives Kasper Schmeichel a few words afterwards as well. I think Kasper Schmeichel actually shimmied to his right. Yanis Hadji went the other way. Schmeichel stopped, went towards the ball, but into the corner, and Rangers 2-1 up.
Tell you what, if he doesn't take a step to his right there, he gets across to it.
Captain Callum McGregor, by his standards, very poor day, but he has to lead by example now.
Yes, the Rangers captain scored his penalty. What can the Celtic captain do? Steps up left-footed, and Jack Butland goes the wrong way, finds the bottom corner.
Now the quality's coming out here.
Yep.
Penalties are here.
That's it. They were just saving it for this point.
So McGregor telling this, a bit of a cheek actually, telling the Celtic fans to get up for this. Might have tried that with the Celtic players about 2 hours ago.
Rangers do have strikers that finished the extra time. Danilo and Dessers both on the pitch. It's going to be Danilo to step up and scored that crucial goal at the end of the 90 minutes, that header that has brought us to this point where we're at penalties. He's had a torrid time with injuries at his time at Rangers. He's come back, scored a couple of goals. What can he do from the penalty spot? Sends Kasper Schmeichel the wrong way, finds the bottom corner and lets out a huge cheer as Rangers make it 3 from 3.
They're very determined look in his face. All 5 penalties so far, taken extremely well. Who's next?
Arnie Engels.
Good job it wasn't expensive.
Yeah, a couple of his corners didn't quite hit the mark, but very different type of set piece this for Arnie Engels. What can he do from 12 yards and trying to get Celtic back onto level terms? They've scored 2 from 2. If you pay big money, you want big moments.
Correct.
From players. A pretty short run up from Arnie Engels, delays it and finds the bottom corner. Looked for a second as if Jack Butland might get his hand to that. Was diving low to his left, but that is a good penalty from Arnie Engels.
These little run-ups kill me. Make me so nervous. Stop, start, stop, start.
Were you always just a longer run-up?
Pick your spot, run up and hit it.
Where was your favourite corner?
Probably to the goalkeeper's right, low, because I could put a bit more power on it than when you side foot it the other way. It's quite flimsy.
Ridvan Yilmaz, maybe not one of the players that you'd expect to be in that 5. He steps up to take, and that is saved by Kasper Schmeichel. It didn't have the most power on it. It was going towards the bottom corner, and Kasper Schmeichel gets down, and a huge save, which means Celtic have a big chance to take a lead.
Yeah, advantage Celtic, but all afternoon they've had advantages and never taken them. So it's Rio Hatate. It's a tremendous advantage for Celtic. It's Rangers really under pressure. Hatate has got to deliver.
We're getting to the stage now where it's the people taking the penalties whose probably hand didn't go up.
Yeah, and have been selected. Well, Rio Hatate will step up right-footed and lashes that one past Jack Butland. Pure conviction from Rio Hatate, who shows his emotion after scoring that one. He knows that could be absolutely huge. Similar to James Tavernier's penalty, wasn't it? The first one.
So who's the next one?
Yes, there will be huge pressure on the next Rangers player to step up. Yet to see who it is. The camera's still on, and it's going to be
Jack Butland.
Another
to
one
take.
Another one I played with at Leeds, another one who fancies himself on the ball, so I'm not surprised by this either.
Well, what a moment this is to keep Rangers in the penalty shootout. Their fifth taker is going to be their goalkeeper.
What does this say about the confidence of the outfield players?
Yeah.
Or maybe the confidence of Jack Butland that he steps up.
I tell you
and
what.
that's a great penalty from Jack Butland. Finds the net, and we are still going, but it's 4-4. Rangers have taken a penalty more than Celtic. Jack Butland's goal means that Celtic have a chance, and Daisen Maeda has the chance to win this cup final for Celtic. It is a long walk. He looks pretty calm, pretty composed as he makes his way to the penalty spot.
Well, Celtic have looked the gift horse in the mouth all day long. His children, Daisen Maeda's children, can't bear to look. So he has the cup in his gift. He simply needs to score.
Well, here he is. Daisen Maeda runs up, takes the penalty, sends Jack Butland the wrong way. Full time. Celtic win the Premier Sports Cup. Let's go back to Hampden.
Yes, Daisen Maeda's penalty separating the sides. The Celtic fans erupt to our right. The Rangers players are dead on their feet. Sid van Yilmaz can't believe it. He's the man who misses the crucial penalty. Some of the Celtic players are so tired they can't even join in the celebrations. It was a thriller, a classic. These sides never go to penalties in a cup final, but they have today, and it is a similar outcome. It might have been a different journey to get there, but it's a similar outcome. Green and white ribbons will be on yet another domestic trophy in Scotland. What an occasion, and Celtic are the winners. Mark Wilson.
Oh, absolutely sensational. What a way to finish at Celtic. Perfect in the penalty kicks. I wasn't quite sure about Maeda going up. I thought, is he the cleanest striker of a ball? But he tucks it away. Huge pressure on his shoulders. And Kasper Schmeichel, of course, saving Yilmaz's penalty. It's a fantastic save down to his left. And it's another piece of silverware for this relentless Celtic team and Brendan Rodgers.
What a cup final, I've got to say. We said it at the beginning, this has got to be a classic. We didn't think we were getting it in the first half, but after that, unbelievable scenes here as well. Unfortunately, there've got to be someone that misses a penalty kick. I felt for him. I really did. Yilmaz steps up there, and it's his penalty kick, and obviously a great save from Schmeichel that sees Celtic lift another trophy here at Hampden.
Yes, perfect penalties all round from Daisen Maeda, Reo Hatate, Callum McGregor, Adam Ida and Arne Engels. Rangers almost matched it. Jack Butland, James Tavernier, Yanis Hadji and Danilo, for Sid van Yilmaz could not. Saved by Kasper Schmeichel, and it means Celtic are the winners. Mark Wilson, in many ways it doesn't really matter how the game goes in a cup final, it's all about who wins it, but we were treated to an absolute blockbuster.
Well, it was. Does mention it was a slow 45 minutes with a mistake, and then Rangers capitalise on it, and we said the second period is going to be so important, how each team comes out and approaches it. I didn't expect it to go the way it did. So many goals, mistakes in there, bits of quality. We were on the edge of our seat throughout, and then the tired legs creep in for extra time. That's to be expected, but even in the penalty shootout we get drama. We get a goalkeeper taking one, we get a perfect scorecard from Celtic, and Maeda just casually, the most casual guy in the stadium, just strolls up and tucks it into the bottom corner. It's been a wonderful afternoon, and one again by Celtic. This team just know how to win. Mentally, they look tired, but mentally they have the hold over Rangers, and by hook or crook, they always manage to get the job done.
Well, Gordon, the fact we got to penalties tells you Celtic didn't have it all their own way, so it almost doesn't require any further analysis. But yet again, they win another trophy. They won 2 last season, they've won the first of this campaign. That's Brendan Rodgers' 10th as a Celtic manager. James Forrest and Callum McGregor are going to need to build more rooms in the house to add more silverware
Exactly.
there. It just keeps going.
Yeah, they know how to win, Gordon. They know how to get the job done. It was a nervy ending. Obviously, it's a sort of a lottery a little bit when it goes to a penalty shootout. They come out on top again. I think if you look over the other side, I think Rangers can take a lot out of this. A lot of people 2 or 3 weeks ago expected Celtic just to turn up here and walk over the top of Rangers, any score at all. Rangers proved that they have closed the gap, they have improved, they have get better, and unfortunately they've just been undone with penalty kicks tonight.
And that's the thing, Mark Wilson, in terms of the 90 minutes, the extra time, everything about it, Rangers are obviously pretty close. They can take heart from that, unless you flip it the other way and ask yourself, what do we need to do to beat this Celtic team?
Yeah, you've got to, because that ultimately comes down to that, and Hugh says it a lot. For Philippe, come on, okay, he's drew the game in a cup final, of course there's got to be a winner, but yeah, again they've stumbled. And I know it's penalty kicks and it's a hard luck story, but once again Brendan Rodgers gets the better of another Rangers manager. And when is the cycle going to end for Rangers? The fans who are departing the stadium now must see no end to this.
Well, the Celtic fans have spilled out of the Celtic end onto the track at Hampden. I think they've done this in the last cup final or last couple of cup finals. They're not going any further, they're waiting behind the boards, and there's a line of stewards and police, but what it will probably do is delay the trophy presentation, and it means the Celtic players can't go over to that end. They're being kept over in the technical area at the moment. The Rangers fans, as you would expect, most of them have showed their appreciation. Their team came very close today, but they head off. The Rangers fans, of course, held that banner up against Spurs on Thursday, and the Celtic fans have responded with one which says, "Make Rangers greet again." See what they've done there. Anyway, it's time for the trophy presentation. You can rejoin us at Hampden for that next.
The Premier Sports Cup Final. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Well, the Celtic end is still jam-packed full of supporters, and the Rangers end is completely empty. That tells you, if you were just joining us, who came out on top in today's League Cup final. It went the distance. It went just about as long as it could, all the way to penalties. Ridvan Yilmaz missed, everybody else scored, and that means Celtic are the winners of the 24-25 Scottish League Cup. Brendan Rodgers' 10th piece of silverware as a Celtic manager, and he continues his wonderful domestic record in charge of the team from the East End of Glasgow. Still a delay to proceedings for the trophy presentation, although the Celtic fans are now making their way back towards the seated part of the stadium, so it will take place very soon indeed. The players just enjoying their moment. Dalziel Maeda waving to his family in the stands. How much pressure must have been on his shoulders, Mark Wilson?
Huge amount of pressure, of course. He's got the Celtic supporters behind him. He's facing the Rangers supporters who are doing everything in their power to put him off. I don't know, look like it fazed him. But he's had some season. Maeda, think back in some big performances and goals in the Champions League. Kuhn gets a lot of the attention all season, and rightly so. He's been brilliant. But Maeda just so reliable. Celtic depend a lot on him, and it's quite fitting that he should step up and tuck it away. He's been a great signing.
I've got to say, I said to Mark earlier, if I was ever taking a penalty, that's the one I'm taking. You're either got to be the hero, or even if you miss it, you're still in the cup. So I think, and I looked at Dalziel Maeda walking up, I didn't really fancy him, Gordon, I've got to say. Calm, cool and collective, just stuck it in the back of net and won Celtic League Cup.
Yeah, I think, Mark, clearly Celtic weren't at their best over the game, but I suppose still fitting then, if you need players to step up and get you to that moment and get you to the penalties. Yes, Greg Taylor's strike was deflected, but you mentioned the two of them, Nicholas Kuhn and Dalziel Maeda, popped up when Celtic needed them.
Well, they've been huge players for Celtic, and just in that second period, I think you could see them creeping into the game, especially down this right-hand side with Nicholas Kuhn, and he was getting the better of Yefte, and by the way, I'll give Daz credit. Daz called it instantly. He said, I would make a change here, I would get Yilmaz on, and I think Philippe Clement maybe left it a wee bit too late, and then, it was a bit patchy, then they fell out of it again, but the two of them have been magnificent for Celtic throughout this season, and Maeda, of course, comes up with an important moment to win the cup. But Schmeichel as well, how big a player has he been for Celtic? I said weeks and weeks ago that I thought he was an upgrade on Joe Hart. I stand by that. I think the way Celtic play and play at the back, he's been a huge plus, but I think making big saves and big moments and big games, he's been huge for Celtic, and there's no bigger one than that. You get down to your left hand side, full stretch, and saves Yilmaz to win the cup.
Well, Hugh Keevins, you have seen it pretty much, you've seen it all really over your 200 years covering Scottish football, but we've finally broken new ground for you. An Old Firm Cup final that goes to penalties.
And I've never seen anything quite like it. First of all,
Dalziel Maeda is the man of the day for Celtic in more ways than one, because he was the only Celtic player who did two things right all afternoon. His goal was thrilling in regulation time, and his penalty was the ultimate cup final story. Charged with winning the cup for Celtic, he took responsibility. His own children couldn't watch in the stand, and he stuck it away beautifully. And what a player he has been. He has been one of Ange Postecoglou's gifts to Celtic. And Maeda, man of the match, winner of the match.
Well, the jeers you can hear are because Rangers are collecting their runners-up medals for players like James Tavernier. It's an all too familiar feeling being second best to Celtic, for others experiencing it for the first time. Conor Barron up there, of course, joining in the summer. This is a new look Rangers team. They pushed Celtic about as close as Celtic have been pushed in recent times, and yet still not quite enough as the remaining Rangers players trudge off clearly in this city.
I'm not too sure if Raskin went up for a medal there. And I think one or two of the staff were just patting him on the back to say, go up and get your runners-up medal, and he's walked up the tunnel, Gordon. So I am not sure. I've never seen that before.
Well, it's not really the city that cherishes runner-up medals, is it? Let's be honest. They don't mean much here.
I know, and this is interesting as well. We've seen Rangers in previous years going down the tunnel. Tavernier's kind of stood with a group. Half the squad have stayed, half the squad have went up the tunnel. That's quite odd. You either do one or the other, I think, as a team.
Yeah, it sort of looks like someone's been sent to try and get the others back out. Whether they will or not, it's entirely different. Likes of Dessers, Barron, Proper, Dowell, Tavernier and Butland have stayed out. The rest have gone in, and that's because it will be Celtic's turn very soon indeed. The refereeing team get booed, of course, as they just always do. It doesn't really matter what they've done, even though Rangers fans have already seen the social medias lighting up.
By the way, I thought they had a poor afternoon from minute one.
Every one of them. Rangers thought they should have had a penalty. They shot pull on Cherney.
Well, the replay show.
Did it carry on to the line? Because if it does,
it's a penalty kick. By here Celtic come
Celtic. How many times have these Celtic fans experienced this? And yet, looking at the faces, it doesn't appear that this feeling is going to grow old anytime soon. Cameron Carter-Vickers is first up. He put his body in the line with one in particular in the second half when he had to. Alistair Johnson possibly played through the pain barrier today, because I don't think he was.
And the Rangers players have come out, Gordon,
had to go off, and they've all played their part throughout this competition. Greg Taylor, a mixed afternoon, a mistake, but then a goal. Mark Wilson,
most relieved man, I think. In Hampden, you see him smiling away there, but he done well to dig himself back in it. You're right, by the way, Carter-Vickers, what a huge moment that is. Start of second half, Rangers 4-on-1, and he made the challenge to keep it at 1-0.
Yeah, Arnie Engels, Gordon, came on, looked a bit ropey. Everyone again, you can hear them around us mentioning the price tag, and then he sticks his penalty away. So they all contributed in the end.
It was one of those games when the two managers sit in the next few days and analyse it. The amount of mistakes that was made this afternoon, and that's what made it such an exciting game. But it was all down to the penalty kicks, the drama, everything, the excitement. Maeda puts it in, Yilmaz misses. That's what just happens. And well done to Rangers. Most of the players have come back out now as Celtic go on to lift this trophy.
Yes, just an anticipation building here as Callum McGregor makes the walk. How many times will Callum McGregor experience this? Up he goes, the SPFL delegation there as well. He gets the medal placed round his neck, Callum McGregor, and he's about to get his hands on that League Cup again. He's won 9 Premierships, 6 Scottish Cups, and this will be his 8th League Cup. What an outstanding haul for the Celtic captain. He makes his way to the middle of the podium. He's got it in 2 hands, raises it high into the dark sky here at Hampden. Flames, confetti, pyrotechnics and celebrations, because Celtic are on top in yet another domestic competition. There just seems to be no shifting them, Mark Wilson.
Serial winners, Gordon, they know how to get the job done, even when they're not at the best. That was clear today, but they still managed to dig 3 goals out of somewhere and have the legs and the mentality to get over the line in the penalty shootout. Rangers have got a job shifting this side, and they've got young dynamic players who have been brought to the club this season, and you can only see it carrying on throughout the season. They've got a comfortable week in the league. They looked at the Scottish Cup to that as well. Brendan Rodgers is not letting his grip go on the silverware, and he's dominating Scottish football once again.
They're in a very good place, you've got to say. They've got the first trophy of the season in the bag. They had to fight very hard for it, of course they did. but they know how to get it done. They know the feeling he's sitting down there. They know what it's all about. We had a caller the other night, Celtic fans, saying not really bored about League Cup. Go and tell the players that are sitting down there celebrating. Go and tell the fans here in the stadium that are celebrating. They love winning silverware.
And there is still time for you to get your calls in. Why not give us a shout on 01419511025? Call us right now. We're here until 7 o'clock. Give us all your reaction, whether you're on the winning side or the losing side, and we'll speak to you next.
The Premier Sports Cup Final. This is Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard.
Well, that is the atmosphere at Hampden. If you've missed out today, what on earth were you doing? League Cup final, Celtic 3, Rangers 3, and Celtic have won on penalties. Mark Wilson, Gordon Dalziel are at Hampden. I'm in the studio with Hugh Keevins and Ross McCormack. I'll go to the guys at Hampden first of all. Just what's the atmosphere like there at the moment?
We're in, Andrew, we're in the middle of a sing-song.
Yeah, it's good for Mark. I don't know about myself, but Mark's quite enjoying it.
I mean, the Celtic fans will be used to it, of course, but they never get tired of it. And we're seeing the Celtic players, the staff, everybody in front of the winners' board there getting their photos taken, memories that will last a lifetime, and it's just normal service, I think, for these Celtic players.
It never gets boring for the Celtic fans. It never gets boring for the Celtic players. You see how much it means to them. Getting up there, lifting that trophy, lifting their winner's medal. Brendan Rodgers and all his staff hugging each other as well, joining in with the celebration. So the Celtic fans will certainly enjoy their Sunday night.
Yes, we've still got a bit of time before the end of the show. We're off air at 7, so you can get your calls in 0141 951 1025. Celtic fans, maybe you're making your way back from the game if you've left those trophy celebrations. We want to hear from you. And Rangers fans, just how devastating was that as a defeat today? 0141 951 1025. Brian is a Celtic fan in Motherwell up first. Brian, delighted?
Well, after the stress that they put me through, I thought at 1 minute the game was away, then it came back, and then when Kuhn scored, I thought that was us, and then lo and behold, Rangers got the part and score. I was devastated, but done brilliant in the end.
In terms of cup finals games against Rangers, is that maybe one of the more anxious times you've had as a Celtic fan?
Oh, aye. Going into the game a few weeks ago, I would have said we were hot favourites, but going on the day, a wee bit of form, Rangers go, we weren't exactly on fire, but once again we've proven we're the strongest team in the country. And I was actually phoning up for the wee man James Forrest to achieve what he's achieved and beating Bobby Lennox's record. It's unbelievable, I think. Unbelievable.
Yeah, James Forrest's trophy count mark, not just his. You look at the likes of Callum McGregor that's been there for years, and I'm sure it's something we're going to hear a lot of over the next few weeks and months, is that trophy haul also means that Celtic overtake Rangers in terms of overall trophies won.
Yeah, well, these players have been a huge part. I mean, I was there for James coming through, and I knew he was a good player, but I don't think any of us could have seen what a success story he was going to be and how many trophies he would win for this club. It's incredibly difficult to stay at a club like Celtic for the length of time he has, but to match that with trophy after trophy is something special. We'll probably never see the likes of it again. And you're right to mention the others, because the others are they won't catch him, but they've got a fair few themselves. Callum McGregor obviously, but then you add in the others like Greg Taylor, even Kyogo and Maeda now have got a healthy number of medals, and it shows no sign of letting up anytime soon.
Gordon, you look at the players out in the pitch, we mentioned some of them, James Forrest, Callum McGregor, just how vital is that in cup finals to have players that have been there, done it, they know what it takes to win? And could that have been a bit of a difference today, that Celtic have that experience of winning trophies and a lot of the Rangers players maybe don't?
Yeah, where it probably came in vital for them was at half time. They went in, they lost a goal just before half time, they're 1-0 down. They're against the coast, they're not playing very well. I'm sure Brendan Rodgers would have had a few strong words, But that's when the experienced players gets about the other players in the dressing room. You don't realise as a player how important it is for these guys just to get a hold of you and, you know, encourage you and get you going, give you that little bit of advice. They know that it can turn just as quickly, and that's what happened in the second half. Celtic come out. I've got to say, it's one of those games. It was an exciting game because there were so many mistakes. If you analyse all the goals, there's a mistake in nearly every one. That's why it was exciting. And I've got to say, you've got to give Rangers a lot of credit here today. Yes, they lost it, and they lost it in penalty kicks. Nobody gave them a chance 2 weeks ago. So Clement will be disappointed, but deep down inside, he'll be encouraged about what he's seen. But you're up against a team that just know how to win silverware.
Brian, it doesn't matter how the trophies are won or what the performance was like, but in maybe a twisted way, does it make it a bit sweeter that Celtic weren't at the races really at all today, but still managed to get the better of Rangers?
I don't know if it makes it sweeter, but they're another touch of class for Celtic. The fact they went and got Big Schmeichel, who was a free transfer, and I think that's a touch of genius. Whoever said, let's go and get this big chap, and again, he's done his talking on the pitch, and he's all season he's been brilliant. And to replace Joe Hart, it was always going to cost a few bob, but to get him for nothing, and potentially he's maybe going to sign another contract, it's a touch of genius with Celtic again. And these are the type of things that make the club progress. And you've got another guy on board who's sitting learning off of him for the next couple of years, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant to see Big Schmeichel again, and delighted for the whole club and delighted for everybody, honestly.
Yeah, Mark, these will be conversations for another time, but Kasper Schmeichel, the early contribution he's made, 1 year in his contract, he's got another option. Can you see him being at Celtic for quite a bit longer despite his age?
Oh, without doubt. I think he's been an outstanding signing, not just for actually stopping the ball getting in the back of the net, but for how Celtic play. He is exceptional with the ball at his feet, and today we had a good view, Daz and I, at how Brendan Rodgers, when one centre-half had it, he was actually encouraging Schmeichel to step up almost out his box to be the kind of that third player, and it gives the opposition a problem. So he's a huge part of what Celtic have achieved this season already, and I'm pretty sure they'll be desperate for him to stay on.
Well, thank you to Brian. You can still get your calls in 01419511025. Robbie is a Celtic fan in Falkirk. Robbie, how pleased are you?
Oh, I'm absolutely delighted. That was a bit helter-skelter for me. Like, it was, the scoreline says it all. Like, you know, and it was back and forward. I just wanted to say about Celtic, I was a wee bit worried in how they were playing in the first half and how they actually got caught out along the back line. Sometimes it just takes somebody to step into, like space with the ball and just drive the team forward. Because at the end of the day, as Rangers, these fullbacks were placed right up with Celtic's wingers. So whenever like Carter Vickers or McGregor or Trusty ever went wide, it was like the Rangers fullbacks were forcing the Celtic fullbacks just to play the ball back. And when it got played along the back again, it was like McGregor was sort of kind of getting marked, so he couldn't get into the game. So it was either going to take, like, for Celtic to be more effective in the first half. I felt as though I'm going to have to either be Carter Vickers just bypassing the midfield and trying to play a long, good ball into the forward players, like even like Kyogo or one of the high midfielders. And when Celtic came out in the second half, I was really impressed that they started to get in behind Rangers and started to control the game. But I mean, I don't know how the panel seen the game, but I thought it was kind of, I wouldn't say 50-50. Celtic had slight advantage with chances and how the game was controlled, but it was back and forward. There wasn't that much between the teams. And just to get onto the game and later in, I think it'll be January the 2nd, I think that's going to be a really, really, really tight game. But I'll say one thing, and I think the panel will agree with me. See that result, that is a sickener for Philip Clement and Rangers, because at the end of the day, Celtic can beat them in close games. They can get the better of them. Even like 2-1s, and it's Celtic are getting most of the possession of that. It can be a 2-1 and it's a close game. All different types of results. But see, when you can't beat Celtic on a penalty shootout, that must be psychologically damaging, because Philip Clement and the Rangers team, they must be saying to themselves, how can we beat them? If we can't even beat them in normal time and get after extra time and get into a penalty shootout, how can we beat them? Because Celtic are beating them every single different way.
Yeah, Robbie, I'll put that to Ross, because the word Robbie used was a sickener for Philip Clement, for Rangers supporters. Is that almost a worse way to lose it, when you come so close and you see that your opposition aren't at it and you still lose.
Yeah, listen, forget the penalty shootout. Anyone can lose a penalty shootout. It's more than 120 minutes before that. Celtic were miles off it, and yeah, Rangers have still somehow lost the cup final. So we are speaking about it there. I worry for Rangers the ramifications that result will have, because psychologically they'll know that we can't even beat Celtic now when they're, down 40-50%. It's worrying.
Yeah, Gordon, we could see that from the players, the Rangers players. Some of them went up the tunnel. I don't even know if Nicholas Raskin went up to get his medal, and those are the types of things that just shows how these players are going to take this.
Yeah, listen, it's a hard one to take. You'll never get a better chance. Everybody says that Celtic were off it. I've got to give Rangers a bit of credit. I thought Rangers tactically, they got it right. They pressed at the right times, especially to get the first goal. They made Greg Taylor make that pass, and they punished them for it. So all over the pitch they looked a lot better. Clement comes in for a lot of criticism, style of play. You can see the style of play today, so it's getting better and better. To be fair to Rangers players, yes, half of them went down the tunnel. Raskin did not go up for his medal, unless I'm mistaken. But then what happened was, I think someone went in, dressing room, told them to come out. Most of them came out, seen Celtic lift the trophy, and then they went. That's fine. They'll be in that dressing room. They'll take positives from it. There's no doubt about that. But it doesn't matter how you lose a cup final. It is a sickener, and it takes a few days to go over it.
Well, thank you to Robbie. Let's stick with the phones. William is a Rangers fan in Stevenson. Previous caller was saying that he thinks it will be a sickener for Rangers supporters for Philippe Clement. Is that how it feels, William?
Well, it's not great to lose it, but it's not a sick. I thought Rangers were brilliant today. We gave Celtic, in my opinion, and this is me not being biased, 10 minutes, a crazy 10 minutes. That defending for their 2 goals. That's what kept Celtic in that cup. You know what I mean? Invest all this money, right? And it's no petty. We invest all this money on VAR. How's that not a penalty? He was grabbed with his shirt and his foot was on the line. How's it not a penalty? Can anybody tell me how that's not a penalty?
I'll put it to the guys at Hampden first. I'm sure you'll have seen the replays back. What did you make of it?
Yeah, well, it looked to me it was on the line. So at the time I thought, oh, that's close, us looking down on it, and then we've got the luxury of this TV and the replay, and it seemed to show it really quickly, but Czerny's, was it Czerny? Yeah. Foot seemed to be on the line when Scales tugged his jersey, so by the letter of the law, I think if it's on the line, it carries on to the box.
I've got to say, I think Rangers were hard done to there. I don't know if it made them go on and win the cup. I don't know about that. I'm only talking about one decision. And I think Rangers will look back on that and think, do you know what? I think we maybe should have had a penalty kick.
Hugh?
Ross was adamant at the time that it was a penalty kick, and from the television angle that we saw, it looked like a penalty kick. I'm afraid if you accept VAR, you have to accept VAR warts and all, because clearly people sitting in a room have had a look at that from all angles and decided it's not a penalty. So you're stuck with it.
You look back on that, William. Is there other moments you look back on as well? Specifically, I think when Rangers were 1-0 up in the second half, they had that breakaway 4-on-1 and just weren't able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm not a bit of a Rangers fan. I thought Carter Vickers was immense here. Right? He saved Celtic for no winning that cup today. 4-on-1. I thought he'd done the wrong decision. I thought he should have went the other way and put the other 2 boys in, but he kept Celtic in the cup there. And another thing, I'm proud of my team. I'm no dejected. As Gordon says, 4 or 5 weeks ago, you want to give Rangers a prayer. You can see Rangers are growing. You should take a lift for this. You know what I mean? Because it proves that Celtic are no Real Madrid. They can be there to be beat. We could beat them. That's what we've proved today.
Is the issue with that, William, though, that Celtic had a complete off day and still managed to beat Rangers?
Well, what do you mean off day? Rangers played well. That's how they done off day. Rangers were better all over the pitch. That's how.
I'm saying Celtic had an off day. Celtic didn't play as well as they have played for a lot of this season.
Well, how did they not play well? You know what I mean, Andrew? Because Rangers were better. That's how they never. I hate that. Rangers were the better team. That's how they never played well.
Well,
I agree with that. I've got to say, we've seen it here live, and Rangers got their tactics spot on, and everybody goes, and we know how good Celtic are. They're a fantastic team, but Rangers today pressed at the right times, and it was tippy-tappy football for a lot of what Celtic were doing. A couple of times in the first half they get the ball in behind, they went direct and caused Rangers problem, especially Kuhn down the right-hand side. But apart from that, it was all slow build-up from the back. It was because of where Rangers players were taking up their position. So I totally agree with what... Is it William that's on the call?
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree with William. It's all this well, Celtic weren't at their best. I think you've got to give the opposition a lot of credit today.
Yeah, but there are two sides to every story. And I saw my first Old Firm game 65 years ago. And I have rarely, if ever, seen the winner of an Old Firm game play as badly as Celtic played today. But at the end of the day, the tribute has to be paid to Dyson Maeda, whose goal was the best of the 6 scored in regulation time, and to Dyson Maeda for scoring the penalty that won the cup. That takes some nerve. And having said that, Brendan Rodgers' record now reads 1 loss in 20 games against Rangers. In my lifetime, as I say, 65 years of watching these Old Firm games, there has been no manager, not the Immortals, not the Legends, there has been no Celtic or Rangers manager who has dominated this fixture in the way in which Brendan Rodgers has done. And so to him tonight, congratulations.
Well, thank you to William. Thank you for your calls. Thank you for tuning in today. What a day of action in Scottish football. A 3-3 draw between Celtic and Rangers in a cup final, and Celtic win on penalties. And you know what? We had a few calls there, but this is going to roll on and on and on. We will be back tomorrow night from 6 o'clock, and we want to hear all your opinions then. Thank you to Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel at Hampden. Thank you to Hugh Keevins and to Ross McCormack in the studio as well. But as always, the biggest thank you is to you at home. We will be back tomorrow night at 6 o'clock as always, but stay right there because Gary Spence's Sunday Night Takeover is up next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast
with Lucas Volvo. Book a test drive for the Volvo EX30 today. Head online for details.
And you didn't flush baby wipes?
No.
Dental floss?
No.
Cat litter?
No.
I just can't understand what...
Hang on a moment. Yep, we'll get someone out to your tenant and get that looked at.
With Direct Line's landlord emergency cover added to your landlord insurance, whether your tenants block the toilet or break a door lock, we'll get you from problem to solution as quickly as possible. Direct Line, we're on it.
Landlord insurance underwritten by UK Insurance Limited. Residential properties only. Cover up to £1,500 per call-out.